Dun, 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 dun. Dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. All right, that's enough of that. What's up, kids? Welcome one, welcome all to the Jerkmonger Show, coming at you live from my studio in Tampa, Florida. That's right. It's me, the Jerkmonger. Hey, hey, hey. I'm just having a good time today. I'm working on a cover design for Alterna Comics. All right, well, what's going on, brother? What's going on? Legendary Monkey says hello, and Brian Double says pumped. Kodiak, my man. What happened to the intro? The intro only goes on when I work through OBS. When I'm doing the Hangout, it's kind of what it is. How's Tampa? Warm, nice and warm. Little cool, but warm. Hold on, let me drink my water. Hold on. Ah, yeah. Hey, Arthur, you want to come on? Let me know. So yeah, excuse me. See, this is why I don't drink water on air, because then I'll start literally choking on the water. This is a cover. Yeah, it's hot today. Yo, word. That's right. What comic book is this for? This is for. It came out on a Wednesday for Alterna Comics. You know the whole. You know my man Peter Samedi. You know what I'm saying? Not mean. All right, that's what I'm working on. Hey, how do I sound, by the way? Do I sound okay? I'm trying to. Everybody keeps saying that I whisper too much or I'm too low. So if I just talk like this, am I too low? Is this too low? Chilly in New York. Word. Not hot in Mass. Haha. Legendary Monkey says, love that book. Yeah. Yeah, I talked to Peter a while ago about doing a cover for him, and because I like what he does, I like what he's doing with the newsprint stuff. You know, if anything that I get nostalgic over, it's the newsprint stuff. And so, okay, so Arthur, you can't do it. Oh, but sure, okay. Ha! Sound like a jerk monger, says EJ. Right on, brother. Right on. All right, I'm going to send you the link. Bear, hold on a second. Hold up. Wait a minute. Let me put some more boom in it. Come on. Boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. That was the theme of my first encounter here in Tampa. When I come down and I'm going to school for the first time, everybody's listening to bass music. I used to hate it. I hate it. I kind of hates it mucho. Bésame, bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Anyway, so I just sent Bear the linkage. All right. Bésame, bésame mucho. Okay, so this guy's got like things coming out of his back. He's got like horns and stuff. And you know, you really can't fault him for being a little angry. Look at him, poor guy. This poor.
What is up?
Oh, look who it is.
I'm here. That looks amazing.
Thanks, man. Hey, I've never heard your voice before.
Yeah, it's weird one. I knew it. The kids would run in right when I started. Just give me. It's Saturday, so all 5 of them. I had them outside doing chores.
Oh well, you know what, man? You got to do what you got to do, brother. Don't worry about it. We're here. I understand. Okay. I got kids. I'm yelling at them all the time myself. You know that. Yeah. But yeah, so this guy's looking a little jacked, just a little bit. Just a little jacked. So yeah, so let's see. Look at the chat here. The chat's slowing down. The chat's
Oh,
slowing.
I didn't do it, did I?
Huh?
I didn't do it, did I?
No, no.
Slowing the chat down.
No, you're good, brother. You're good. You're good. Yeah, it's good to hear. It's good to hear your voice, man. It's cool. You got a
Yeah.
good voice.
Yeah, I was nervous online for a while, but I've had some friends help me out with it being online, so
Hey, you
I've
sound
gotten kind of
clear. That's good.
comfortable with it. Yeah. I got a snowball.
I do too.
My brother-in-law just hooked me up with a gaming computer and all kinds of stuff for cheap. So
That's awesome, man.
so I
Congratulations.
got the setup all ready to go. Now if I just had the skill to go with it.
Uh, well, man, you know what? It's just going to take some time and effort to put into your equipment. Make sure you got it all set up nice. You got everything the way you want it, and then you jump on, and you just be like magical.
What is this character for?
So, Alterna has a comic called. It came out on a Wednesday,
Mhm.
and it's like it sounds like one of those old school movies, the day the Earth stood still, that sort of stuff. And it's usually the covers usually have some sort of cool monster on it, which I love the monsters. So I thought, and I had already planned something like this with him a while ago. We were talking about stuff, and I'm a big fan of what Samedi does anyway, because of his. I should share this. Right? I'm going to share.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a big fan of what he does with his stuff in general. So I dig the idea of newsprint comics as an option, an alternative to what's out there. And so I've never published anything on what I grew up on with like newsprint stuff. So I'm pretty pumped up about it. It's weird. It's only comic artists get excited about, man, if I could just have my stuff on a comic, it'd be great. It's like, yeah, you'd be poor too, but it'd be great. It's good times. Let's see. Brian Doble says, I'm drawing along with you. Well, thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. Legendary Monkey says, I know that feel.
Yeah, if you ever notice my headshots have a very jerkmonger feel, that's because I used to draw along to teach myself heads.
Oh, right on.
Yes.
I like it.
I'm paying attention to your brushes now because I'm starting to work on digital stuff. And when you get in close, you see how it breaks apart, but when you come out, it looks so solid. See, I thought I couldn't use a brush like that. I thought I had to use like those really thin brushes.
What are you talking about? For things like,
if I have my iPad,
am I doing something like that, or?
Yeah, see how when you get in real close, it's almost like a pencil. I have a brush like that, but when I pull out, I don't know if it looks as well as yours does.
It's just a texture on this brush. If this brush right here, it has like a grit to it.
Right. Does it also make the brush feel more natural?
I don't know. I mean, everything feels normal to me in Photoshop. Like, all feels the same.
Okay.
Artificial to a degree, but I just know how to control it. I've been working in Photoshop for so long, Hey, Kuzmeti, how are you? Good to see you, lady. She's one of my favorites. Victor the Ripper says, why did they say the other day the SRWs were trying to get you back? Get you back. Why did they?
I don't think they ever had you, did they?
I don't think they ever. Yeah, I don't think.
Did they have a robot Elliot somewhere? It's like,
no.
What does that mean?
No, the robots. They got the robots.
Oh, my pen's dead.
The pen's dead. Oh, see, that's unfortunate.
I love the iPad thing though. 15 seconds charges it for 30 minutes.
Oh wow! So like literally, you're gonna jump right back into it. See,
yeah,
I feel dumb for making fun of it now.
Yeah, I had to. If you drop it though, one good drop, it's over for $100. That's not a. I guess every stylus is like that though, right?
I don't know. I've dropped these Wacom pens before. They're pretty tough. They're resilient. It depends, man. I've learned that it's not about any one thing or another. It's literally that each thing has its pros and cons, and I don't like to compare them. I used to do that. I used to go, oh no way, man, only this all day, all the time. But like I'm really kind of envious of all you guys with the iPads because I really want one. I just gotta wait for the right time to get it. It's a great tool. I love that it's so portable and so light. Like I
Yeah.
have that Mobile Studio Pro, and I love it. I love it when it's working right, when it's not being updated every 12 minutes.
Yeah.
But
Procreate is pretty efficient for a on the go thing, but you'd have to throw it and finish it in Photoshop, I'd feel. For
what?
your quality.
Yeah, you know, it's funny you say that. I was I downloaded the on my hard drive the and the what's it called, Autodesk Sketchbook. And the only reason why I got it was because I downloaded it was because I like the feature that it has on the mobile version, which is the time lapse. And I'm curious why it wouldn't have a time lapse feature on the hard drive, but apparently that's the case. It's not available. So but I mess with it. I'm enjoying sketching in it, but all I could think of was like, how do I get it over to Photoshop now? Oh, and so I managed to figure it out. It was, I mean, I just saved it as a PSD file, but I found that to be a little bit of a clunky process to just kind of like go from one thing and then save it into something else. RT Bear, what's up, man? You want to jump on? You let me know, man. I should have put this in the chat, our little chat. Let's see. Victor the Ripper. Hold on a second. Legendary Monkey. I just downloaded the sketchbook for the S9 Note. Digital is going to take some getting used to. It does, but it does work pretty well. I like it on my phone. I do it when I'm in church or something. Victor the Ripper says, "How long have you been uploading on this channel for this girl to learn head sketches from you?" Did somebody call you a girl?
Maybe, I don't know.
What the heck?
Maybe I should talk like this. Or maybe I should go like Michael Jackson.
Oh, it's good.
Just embrace it. So it's funny, we was just talking about that. My pen doesn't seem to be working anymore. That is strange and devastating. We'll figure that one out later.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. Keep drawing with it. The one thing you can always depend on is a pencil. It'll always work.
Every time. And it feels the same every time. That's what I was talking about, is basically the feel of it. Some pens on these programs, it's just like they just don't feel right, like you're drawing, or I don't know. Then it doesn't even feel like you're painting.
Yeah. I do like. Maybe that's really what you were asking. As far as like this stylus here works really well. It's for me it's about comfort in my hand because I have a bit of arthritis in my right hand, my drawing hand, which is weird. Like it picked that one hand, then go to the other one, went to this one. Well, it makes sense though. It's very ergonomic, this stylus. It fits nicely. It's got a fat, like where you grip it to draw. It's more bold. Elliot, we're just watching Arthur charge his pen. Oh, are you guys? Is that oh, should I am I doing something wrong here? Here, I'll tell you what, I'll do this. I'll present to everyone for now. All right. But yeah, so I do hear, I see that you're muted. I do hear that that particular pen, and I have tried it, the stylus for what do you call it? The Apple is very comfortable. It's nicely weighted. All right, I'm going to send you the link in case you want to jump on. You don't have to, but I'll just send the link to everyone. That's all right. I'll do that. I wasn't going to make this a long deal, but why the heck not? Why the heck not? At least for another 20, 30 minutes or so, maybe 40 minutes. All right. Back to action here. All right. So anyway, so what are you working on, brother?
Just actually, this is a warm up. I had a couple panel pages that I was working on, and then Avery and Andrew over there with Misfit Corner took a look at it, and they're like, that doesn't flow really well. The story doesn't flow real well. And at first I was kind of grumpy about it. And then I started looking at it from what I needed is kind of like the editor, kind of the person to tell you, nope, that's crap. Go back to it, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And I started looking at it from their eyes and realizing they were right and going, well, I have to go back and look at my camera angles, my story flow and that stuff.
Yeah. Are you, is this for a specific story?
Yeah. The one that I'm actually hoping to get a commission from you on sometime. That one.
Okay. Okay.
That's my only, that's kind of my eggs in one basket story there.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Yeah, man. It's always good to be flexible with the information you're getting. If nothing else, to kind of hopefully get the most out of your own work, right? So that's the most important thing. Otherwise, you could get into that weird rut where you're wondering why is no one paying attention to it? Why is it taking so long? And it really was just a matter of you just listening to some advice and then improving based on that. But it's always difficult too, because sometimes you don't have. Sometimes not everybody has a valid commentary, and by that I mean some people just want to shut you down, like, oh, it sucks. They want to just hate,
That's what I value most about these guys. One, Avery, he's the illustrator guy on that he might follow you. You might recognize him, but he's been published in Heavy Metal magazine. Oh, just a couple small things, but he's had projects. He basically, it's like everything I'm telling you is stuff that I've went through. I really value his opinion because it's always been really beneficial. And then he won't just say it. He'll grab a piece of paper and he'll show it, and I'll see it, and I'll be like, he's absolutely right as far as storytelling or as far as composition.
Yeah.
What he's saying is better.
Oh man.
So
yeah, I don't know who that is though. That sounds like the kind of people I like to be with. People that are going to be honest and constructive. Honesty is important, but if you can't really tell me what to change, then it's
right.
I mean, I guess it's okay to say, it's just something's bothering me. I guess, but that's so nebulous.
Yeah.
I need a little more than that.
And then you end up doing the exact same thing because you don't have anything constructive to work off of.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's not necessarily angry or anything like that, but Vilna, how are you? Who is Elliot talking to? I'm talking to my friend.
The Uncanny Kodiak.
There you go. He's also the moderator you see on here sometimes. So you guys can now put a voice to the avatar, if you will.
Couple of them might know me from John Dillard's stream or Misfit stream. I've started making my rounds just to, like I said, when I first got on, I was so nervous. And then I realized it's just talking to friends, it's just like-minded people. And just the more I started being myself, the less nervous I got.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the key to all this. I sometimes I'll get so comfortable that I'll just start drifting, like talking like this. Now I'm doing this, and because I'm starting to just get. It's almost like being at home. Sometimes I forget that I am entertaining people to a degree. I don't know how people even say that about me. I don't find myself that entertaining. As a clown, perhaps. As a clown, I feel like a clown. But there is something about the way your cadence and talking, making sure that I find that I have a difficulty listening to myself because I tend to I interrupt myself a lot. When I'm in the middle of a thought, I'll start to say something else, and like you guys know what it is I'm thinking. That sucks. Never a good idea for how to communicate. I also find myself I do a lot of fast mumble because of growing up in New York City. A lot of people talk fast, and I didn't even think this was an issue until I would listen to other people from New York, and they talk fast. Not everybody. But I like to enunciate. I like to be, I just don't. I like to talk in a way that I'm super clear with what I'm saying, but I'm usually not that good at that. But otherwise, the alternative to that, if you can't be those things very well, just be yourself and just have fun. You seem coherent to me, Elliot. Thank you, Cosmetti. This is so wonderful. I love it. I love it. I need that. I need more of that in my life.
Wanted to show you that page, but I've lost it.
Oh man, show me stuff. Show me stuff. This is a good time to show me stuff for sure.
It's just the composition was. Even my kid looked at it and he's like, "Well, this hand's facing the other guy, even though it's supposed to be the other guy's." Because from panel to panel, it had my main character slamming down a beer, right?
Okay.
And even my kid's like, after Avery and Andrew had kind of broke it down, it's like this page just isn't working. You know, we're confused. The artwork is fine, and of course I would scan it into my digital and then clean it up there.
Right.
Make it even sharper. Forget it. I can't find it. I had gotten all my stuff ready, just cleaned my whole office, and every time you clean, you kind of lose everything.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I know how that goes.
I'm not like my wife. She has things labeled and she can find everything when it's clean. When I clean, I can find nothing.
My wife and I are very similar that way. We tend to just put everything away, and doesn't really help anybody. We just never good. We just forget everything. Hey, your boy, is that your boy? A Comics and Illustration Studio 7.62?
Yeah, that's him. All
right. Hey, if you want, you can send him the link. If he wants to jump on.
Ooh, cool.
In Chatterbox with me for a bit. Jess Henry says, I have a criticism. You live streaming guys should always put the links to the other people's channels on the description. Sometimes it's very difficult to know who's in the stream. Well, sometimes I don't know who's going to be in the stream. Sometimes it's a surprise. And I find it also a little jarring to pause in the middle of streaming to add that information. So I'm hoping that eventually, I'll get better at that. But that is not an invalid criticism. It's just that's just my response to that. It can be a little difficult, but it's something we could work on for sure.
I had a lot of criticism of streamers until I actually got online. Like, you do very well. You kind of spoiled me. You do so good on talking with your audience that you think it's easy until you get on and you start forgetting the stream and just the chat,
Yeah.
And it's like that's kind of a skill in itself. Rubbing your PewDiePie just started playing in my ear. Why did that video come up? Anyways, it's like blowing bubblegum and walking at the same time or whatever that is.
And Just Henry says, alrighty then. Sorry. Because Many says she likes your table, by the way.
Thank you.
Comics Illustration 7.62. Who's Elliot's guest? He won't tell me. Arthur Brown, the Uncanny Kodiak. I want to keep calling you Kodiak Bear.
Yeah. Well, it works.
Yeah. Well,
hey, that's where it's born from. My dad nicknamed me Bear when I came home from the hospital. And like in '88, my sister, we used to she was into Teen Titans and John Byrne X-Men and that stuff like that. And right before the comics boom and changed in the '90s, she was a fan and my dad was a collector. So she come up with, why don't you come up with a character called Kodiak? And I was like, what's that? And she told me what it was. So we would kind of role play that. I would be Kodiak or whatever. And then like 2 years later, Rob Liefeld came out with a Kodiak character. And my dad was total analytical about holding books. Like, his book room was just pristine. When we showed him the book with Kodiak in it, he tossed it across the room. Because he disliked Image. He disliked Image. He grew to love Image, but at the time he disliked it. So he was kind of upset. He's like, because I was 11, and I had come up with this character, me and my sister together. So that's where it comes from.
That's cool
basically.
though.
Yeah.
That's cool that he was supportive, at least to that degree.
Yeah.
Can't even let my people do this. It's funny. I had in the beginning, I was all over Image. It was so different, so unique. But all the stuff that people talk about, that it was kind of it wasn't always that good. The stories were kind of weak. I got into it. Obviously, I was much older. Well, I mean, I was either senior in high school. I don't know, when did Image start?
92.
92? Really?
Yeah.
Okay, then it. Oh well, I know why. Well, anyway, when I got back from the army, I was in there for a couple of years. I graduated in 91. I always feel there was a comic shop locally that used to be called Ray's Lock and Key. It was a lock and key place that also sold comics. Very odd, but worked. It was popular in the local area.
What is
And
lock and key?
huh?
What do you mean by lock and key?
Like they were a lock and key place. Like they would like make new keys for you if you needed for locks.
Yeah, that is strange.
Yeah. There's another shop locally. Well, it used to be. I don't know if they're still here. It used to be Wonder Water, because they used to sell water, osmosis water or whatever, and they also sold comics. I always trip when I hear that kind of story, that kind of combo.
Yeah.
But anyway, I remember I bought all from Ray's. I bought all the covers to Savage Dragon, all the covers to Spawn. I wasn't that interested in at the time. Ironically, I wasn't super hyped about Wildcats. I think it came out right when I was in the service, so I missed a bunch of the early projects. But for whatever reason, I got into Dragon, but I didn't like Dragon that much. Isn't that weird?
Mm-hmm.
The art bothered me a lot at the time, and now that I'm older, though, I'm a much bigger fan of Larson's art than I used to be.
Yeah.
Not as big a fan of Larson, but I like his work, and I like his work because it reminds me a lot of Kirby. He has the same,
yeah.
He's got the same. You could tell he loves Kirby, and so we share that, even if he probably wouldn't like me very much. But he's also, and it's the idea. I remember thinking, I love the idea of playing in a sandbox with your characters, and just I remember when I was a kid with GI Joes, for example. I used to play with those toys. I had like 2 or 3 of them at any given time, and I would just I remember it was usually Quick Kick and Snake Eyes, and man, those guys went on adventures all the time, and so it would be like 3-hour sessions. I'd just be playing with those guys. They'd be climbing mountains, getting knocked down and climbing mountains again, fighting some sort of dinosaur or whatever it was in my toy collection. There's something about that appeals to me in Savage Dragon, that he likes to just drag out some of these weird stories, and they're just all weird. And he likes to beat up his character, and then next month he's back again. To me, that's fascinating. So I like that sort of storytelling. That's one of my favorite things about superhero comics is that it can be that way. Doesn't have to be as linear if you do it a certain way. Who do you have in here? Who's here?
Hi, Avery. I'm Kodiak's friend.
Yay! What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on?
Welcome. And also a better artist than me. So.
Yeah. Oh man, thanks for having me on.
Right on, man. Thanks for coming on. Real quick, Just Henry says, Elliot, I like your character Macho Monger a lot. I'm going to read it in voice. You could use it to make video reviews of things. Have you ever seen Thug Notes from Wisecrack Channel? Something like that. Actually, that's funny you say that, Just Henry, because I am developing. So I have a character I developed a long time ago that I'm going to convert into Macho Monger. I just don't want to get in trouble with the estate. I hope I don't get into any of that mess, but I'm just having fun with it. And this doesn't look like Macho, but it's going to feel like Macho when you see it. It's based on old wrestling characters. So I'm glad that you said that. And it's just, I'm hearing a lot of confirmation about that sort of thing. I've seen people do it lately where they use like a cartoon avatar to speak for their commentary, and it got me thinking about that. Then I started thinking, oh, I'm going to hold off on that idea. I'll share with you other guys later. You guys in my chat in the on the video here, but I got an interesting idea I'm going to try out soon. We'll see if it works. We'll see. We'll see. I'll be mysterious about it for now.
How do you feel your sequential art holds up?
I suck in sequential art.
Is it the story telling part that, or is it the camera angle? What is that you find that you struggle with?
Let me rephrase what I just said too. I actually don't think I do think my stuff sucks because everybody's supposed to think their stuff sucks.
Right.
Yeah. We all have that.
Yeah. I do think that in the short time that I was doing sequential art professionally, even in that short time, it improved.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt good about that. But I certainly could grow. I enjoyed that. I did a little bit of storyboarding for a minute, and for Marvel Studio Animation or whatever, and that kind of spoiled me because I enjoyed telling the story. Mm-hmm. The part that frustrates me about sequential art is one, I don't know, I think it's the time really is what bothers me the most. In general, not being able to trying to hit that monthly schedule is very challenging if you're trying to do a good work. And also I found that drawing inanimate objects has always been a challenge for me. It's not that I can't draw them. It's not that I can't plot a nice perspective grid. I know I'm always looking for shortcuts though, because I hate it.
Mm-hmm. It gets boring fast.
Yeah.
It gets
monotonous.
It gets boring, and that kills your creative momentum. Those quiet scenes, those conversations, it's a suck on the creative energy, and it.
Well, you know what?
You start looking for the shortcuts, and sometimes it will make the overall look. It'll drag it all down. I know.
Yeah.
The pace.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I agree with that.
As somebody who I'm only teaching myself to draw because I want to tell my story, that I've written over, the past 2 decades, so I'm so anxious to finally get that out that I've started trying to teach myself sequential. So when I'm drawing something boring like a conversation, I'm actually a little excited about it. So maybe that's the key, is if you're drawing your own stuff, when you get to your own stuff and you're drawing an important conversation, say against versus Atomo and his father figure, you that might get you going, get those juices restarted. You know what I mean?
No, that's a great point, and I think that is true. I know when I'm working on this project that I've been developing with Doug, some interesting things have come up like that for me, where I'm like, okay, I think an important thing is this, and I think this is the most important thing for you to kind of break through some of those challenges. The biggest, in my opinion, the biggest thing to do is see your elements as characters. I think that's a big part of that. If you see it as just a background thing, then yeah, it's just a city street. Mm-hmm. If you start looking at, because one of my favorite things about old school indie art, indie comics, even old British comics, like even the stuff from like Judge Dredd, I feel like Judge Dredd is like an indie comic.
Yeah.
Even though it's not an indie comic over in England, but over here, because we don't see it that way, But those artists over there, they draw. Have you guys ever heard of a guy named Steve Mannion?
I'm not familiar with him, no.
You should look him up. Steve Mannion. He does a comic called, I think it's called Dawn, or something like that. He draws like a punk rocker. would draw, like a punk rock band would draw a comic. He draws like the cool gritty things. He all his. I mean, I'll tell you what. I'll look it up. I'll show you what I mean. This is why am I using virtual portfolios when we have Google here, and I want you to see what I mean. When he draws anything, it looks like the way he draws everything, and it makes me super stoked to see it here.
Yeah, because when I looked it up, I got a sportscaster.
Yeah. Don't waste your time. Here, I got you, man. I got the mods.
Oh my god, I'm gonna fanboy. Critias is in the house. Oh my god. Critias, nice to meet you, brother. Even though we've met before in chat.
The thing about Critias is that once you've met him, it's like, he's not as big deal as he seems online. He seems so popular with the kids.
It's an all Florida boys stream.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
All right, this is Steve Mannion. If you can kind of get a look, see how he draws the weirdest things.
Oh
yeah.
But it's like old school, like 1980s. I wouldn't say 70s, maybe late 70s, like 80s comics. And I don't mean like mainstream comics. It's like, look at this. He's got guys with hats, and look at everything looks.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Except for wait a minute. Is that a minion? Is that an overgrown minion? This has got to be a newer.
No, this is old stuff.
Then somebody.
This is one of his characters called the Bomb. See that? Even that, the Bomb.
The Bomb.
Look at this guy. Look at this. Look at that.
Oh.
So you see, like even the little smoke has all that character.
It's got a lot of influence from like the European stuff, the indie and punk rock stuff.
Yeah. Well, this guy is that. This guy's an older guy. He's about my age, a little older.
Yeah.
And he's all about that kind of atmosphere. Look at the cracks. This whatever she's sitting on. I don't know what that is.
See, I'm gonna have to go look that up and
like
get that
right up my alley.
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah, I was about to say. Avery showed me a lot of stuff. This is right up his alley.
Look at this stuff. Like even this little thing, this little rocket sled she's on here. This blimp that says "Mad." And this is like the old. So actually.
Oh, that character! Wow, I haven't seen that character in years.
Who's that?
The little heart sheep dude in the corner.
Oh, this guy here? Yeah. I think that was a monster from Looney Tunes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Look at this stuff.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. See, that's getting up my alley. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's something about you. Look how he drew the lamp. See, the lamp has little springs on it, but he didn't go crazy trying to draw it like it's a schematic.
No.
I think that's the mistake a lot of artists make. They try to draw, and even look how ununiformed the edge of that lamp shadow is.
And that's what I was saying about your digital earlier. Your brush that you're using, it's got a grit to it. It's got a tone to it. It doesn't take itself too seriously.
Yeah.
No, some of Elliot's digital inks don't look digital. Like most stuff that's digitally inked, you can go, yeah, that's digitally inked. Some of Elliot's stuff,
he did a Guar cover. Wow.
I don't know if he did this one, but
oh, okay. That's just because it's along those. Google is just sensing the vibe, I guess. Oh, I love that one too. The creature.
No, you know what? Part of it too is I use in Photoshop. I play around with my pressure sensitivity. So I work more with
like I'll paint digitally, but if I'm going to just do something in black and white, like I want it to look pen and ink, I'll do my pencils in Photoshop and then print it and ink it traditionally.
So that's how I'm planning to do this project with Doug. I think I'm going to do that.
Nice.
We'll see. We'll see.
Because doing your backgrounds, doing your layouts, you have all these perspective grids that are off panel, they're off the page. Well, that's all easier to handle in Photoshop because you draw a grid once, scan it, and drag and drop and just click it away when you're done.
Yeah.
And it saves so much time.
Yeah, there's in my story there was a
And undo's quicker than erasing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. That's absolutely true.
There was a bar that took me forever to draw, right? So I finally got it in there, and then got the perspective on my Procreate. I use Procreate, so they have really good grid lines. But I needed to redraw this thing with it all beaten down later in the book, and I was able to use those same grids with a slightly different. Yeah. So I'm sorry, I kind of lost my thought there, but basically.
With the grids and the grits. Talk about grits. I'm hungry for breakfast now.
Oh yeah.
All right, check this out. So this is if you look at this here, I'm gonna oh, Critias, you here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was fanboying.
Yeah. He said.
I can't. Did he even talk?
No, I haven't heard him yet.
He's ghosting.
Oh, Critias.
Critias.
Critias, why you do that, Critias? Critias.
Come on, Critias. Come on.
Oh, Critias.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, where you been? Dude?
I've been talking for the past few minutes. Like, what's up, everybody? And I'm like, why?
No, we hadn't heard a thing, bro.
No, nothing.
Oh my goodness.
Wow, man, you just
I've been interpreting myself.
All right, all right, so I'm sharing my screen here. So you see the lines this guy's getting here?
Mm-hmm.
By the way, this is from a video on YouTube. It's sick. If you just look this guy up on YouTube. There's not a lot of his stuff. I wish there was more, because he's a very interesting dude. I wouldn't say he was eccentric. He's just like a big kid, and he's an old skater or whatever. But if you look at those lines, and then you look at my lines here, they're not that far off from what he's doing there and what I'm doing here.
I see.
No, see, that does not look digitally inked.
No, it does.
It doesn't. It's got that roughness to the texture of the line.
Yeah.
It looks like a pen or a brush on paper.
Yeah, these are actually, I don't know if he has them available anymore. I know he started working with Adobe. Maybe he's working on Adobe for that new version for the mobile pads. But his name is Kyle Webster, and he created a bunch of these great, like a lot of people from Pixar are using his brushes, and I invested quite a bit of money on them, but they're all great. And this particular one is called it's called Old Nib. So it has that look, and if you look at, again, take a look at his T-Rex and the lines he's getting out of that T-Rex, and it's only because of the benefit of the close-up that you can even appreciate it. But I also putz around with my, I'm trying to find it here. Where's I'm working on a Mac. Here's my system preferences. I'm going to show you what my this is for anyone who cares. Maybe nobody cares about this, but I like to work here. If I go to the middle, it might be good. I don't know. I've never tried it on this stuff. But I find that it's too, I can't do these nice, like these little lick lines. I'll show you what I mean. Let me go back to that.
They're feathered lines.
Yeah, but I'll show you what I mean. When I do this, I can kind of, it allows me to do little thin lines because the pressure is just tight enough for me to just do a soft, I can just draw lightly. I hate drawing too hard. I don't want to do that, but I don't mind doing that for the extra thick. So you see that was something I developed a lot in my digital work. It's because of the way I learned to ink from digital, to be honest.
Really?
I learned to paint from digital painting. I just started to apply the same principles, but I was also playing around with thoughts and ideas about pressure sensitivity. And that's what you're doing with brushes anyways, playing with pressure. Let me see. Martin Stevenson says, I've created perspective grids of different sizes and angles that I use with my A3 Lightbox under my Strathmore sheets. Saves having to erase lines. No, that's definitely a great way to do it. Although I get lost on perspective grids. I don't even know where to start. I'm like, where do I draw? Huh? So for me, what I'm excited about is doing more drawing in oh crap, I messed up. Doing more of my drawing in well, not Manga Studio. What's it called? Clip Studio, Clip Paint Studio, whatever. That's where I want to do more of my drawing because it has a feature in there where you can actually draw your, like you can snap to a perspective grid that you of your liking. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it's an excellent program if you're interested in I don't like it for drawing. I think sketching is easier. These pencils, these tools here are better in Photoshop, but for constructing your concept, I don't have a better program than that. So again, I haven't done a lot. I've only done very limited stuff with Procreate, like at Best Buy on their sample iPads, but I'm anxious to try it eventually. And by anxious, I mean I'm broke, so I'll wait.
Right.
Yeah, I know the feeling, man.
I've been waiting for 2 months. I was one of the first ones to put my tax income in, and I still haven't received it.
I do freelance illustration, and I still have to work a crummy day job.
Yeah. I'm devastated right now here on this stream. I'm absolutely would be crying if I wasn't live. This $100 eye pen is not working anymore, and I have a lot of work to get done. It hasn't been dropped. Nothing has happened to it. It just has stopped working.
Maybe it's because of Critias, because he was hiding.
Critias.
Yeah, I know. Take a blame. Full blame.
Crit, man, where you been?
Just in the house, and I'm training myself how to draw again.
I read that. What's going on with that?
I'm trying to pick a style with a traditional or manga, so I decided to do manga for now because it's a little bit more simple.
Sure.
So I've been training my, like with eyes and mouths, noses, and now I'm gonna try to work my way up to like facial features and stuff like that.
That sounded almost like something from American Horror Story. I'm training with eyes and mouths.
Yeah, I'm training with body parts.
I'm training their eyes and mouths.
Yeah, it's not easy, man. I'm hearing you guys talk about all these artists and all these designs and line work, and I'm like, now I'm getting intimidated.
Oh, I feel you.
Hey, Just Henry suggested, have you tried turning it off and on again?
Yes, I just did that. That's what I was away from the computer through. That's why I wasn't so upset a minute ago when I said, "Oh, it's not working." I was like, "I'll just restart it and figure it out." But now it's been restarted. Yeah,
and maybe it needs a little more
juice.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, maybe I'll try that. Keep my fingers crossed. Just ignore it for a while. Maybe I ran it so low that it needs a really good charge. So.
Yeah, I definitely recommend you guys check out Steve Mannion. He's so fun and he's very old school, and he's very he's a super humble dude. I love him, and he's like an artist favorite. All the guys at Heroes Con loves him, and he goes there all the time. And he lives up in New York somewhere, and I think he still skates, which is hilarious. I wish I could skateboard, but I would hurt myself. I'm just fat.
I'm too fat. Too old, too fat.
Too old, too fat, and I'm tired of pain. I don't need the pain.
Yeah. It's like over 40 when you hit concrete, man. It ain't that good.
No,
man. Back when I was doing photography, Tony Hawk came and did a thing here in Jacksonville.
Yep.
And I took my camera over there, and I was gonna take some pictures. And I got one iconic, really good picture. But long story short, he goes up on that. It's a big U thing that just looks intimidated, and he's like what 50 now. It's like back when he came, he was well past the age some dude should have retired. And he fell and bust his teeth, and like 2 or 3 teeth came out of his face.
What?
Yeah, no, legit. Because I was expecting like to see it on the news or something, like Tony Hawk busted his face, but I guess it's just commonplace for a skateboarder. But
yeah, that's ridiculous.
To be losing body parts that late in life, it's like I'm not.
Oh man, Zion, what's up? Zion. Hope everything's well. Everything's well. Hope everything's well with you. Hope everything's well with you. Yeah, man, I can't do that. I wanted to I have this little fantasy vacation I want to take one of these times to Hawaii. But I only want to go because I want to surf. I've never surfed in my life. And the only surfing I hear about here in Florida is over on Daytona on that side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I won't do it. It's ridiculous. I'm too old for this stuff.
It's better over there, and it would even be a closer drive for you. But what is that word? Cape Canaveral. Cape Canaveral is where they launched the rockets off. What beach is that?
Cocoa Beach.
Cocoa Beach has really killer waves. Like be careful. Don't bring kids there.
I
haven't been
there you go, Critias. You can bring people.
Yeah. Come on, guys. We're gonna take a special trip. Coming back. Oh, Elliot, let me show you my eyes, and you tell me what you think. Tell me where I can fix it.
Let me unshare my stuff here.
Take a look at his pretty eyes.
Yeah, my eyeballs.
It's a jar full of eyes. Whoa.
My neighbors.
Jar.
Hold on, present.
Oh, his eyes is better than my eyes.
Oh, those look good, man.
I'm just practicing.
Yeah, they're looking good.
Different styles.
Yeah.
Now here comes the hard part of getting them properly spaced.
Right. Yeah, that's the problem I'm having. They look like cross-eyed when I put them together, or just like too close, too far apart.
Do you got the thing about one eye in between two eyes?
Yep.
I remember hearing that, but you just reminded me right now.
Okay.
It's funny. Someone asked me earlier if I could do. I think they posted on one of my videos. Could I do an art grind on faces?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do a little one real quick for you, Critias.
Yes. Woohoo!
Concept that I can't seem to. My keyboard's not affecting Photoshop anymore.
Jerkmonger 101.
Yeah, I'm looking for videos.
I'm locked up. Hold on a second.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Woo! That was scary.
I was gonna blame Critias.
I know EVS has the perspective videos, and I'd like to check that out too.
Yeah, those are those would definitely be helpful to me too. So all right, so here's
Avery keeps telling me to check them out, but I keep they're buried deep.
What's that?
EVS's perspective videos.
Yes, it's just the basics. Once you understand the basics, everything, just like color theory and painting, once you understand the basics, everything else is just experimentation and figuring it out on your own the hard way.
Hey guys, doesn't he sound like John Malin?
He kind of does.
Yeah, but
you have to figure it out the hard way. You have to make the mistakes. The only way to get good is to suck first.
All right. Check this out. All right. No, I agree with that. Suck first. Always suck first.
Wow, that threw me. That threw me for a second. Wow.
Oh, Elliot.
I've been trying to watch my mouth and.
What'd I say?
Yeah.
All right. So this is generally like what I might start with, right? Now I always start with the dome, and it's because I always in the past started with the eyes, and that's not a right way or a wrong way. It's just kind of a way, and it has its flaws because I wouldn't always draw. I always have to rescale my whole drawing because I was drawing the eyes a certain size, and I wasn't drawing everything else the right size.
Right.
But I try to. Can you see what I'm doing here?
Yeah.
Let me. I think I'm sharing your screen. Hold on. Let me just present. All right. So what I used to do, or what I learned this from two sources. There was a book that I had called. It was the art of. Or it was a scrapbook for the movie Prince of Egypt, and it was the first time I had seen a very specific, approach to drawing the head, and it was for animation. Now, obviously, animation is for me is the source for most of my tricks, because they're taking shortcuts that are purposeful for the sake of efficiency.
Right.
Okay. All right. Cool. So for me, that's a great way to start. All right. So what I would do here on this circle, I would cut it in half, right? And then from here, and this is probably not squared away anyway, but this is how I would start it. Well, I do the same thing here. I'm just doing it from a perspective. Okay. So let's say this is where the eyes are going to go. Okay. But back over here, back on this guy, I'm going to lower the opacity real quick. All right. All right. So when we were talking about before about the eye in between, this is way off anyway because I did it funky. But if this is the one eye, we want to have an eye's distance in between, generally in between your eyes, the regular eyes. Okay. Right. So that right there is kind of the start to that. Now, that doesn't mean that everyone's eyes are exactly like that. In fact, most people are not the same. Even when people say stupid things like, "Oh, they all look alike," no, they don't. There's always something different. There's always something interesting. Some people have eyes that register more to outside of that grid a little bit, and that's a way to make someone look kind of weird or alien. Or sometimes you see it in cartoons. It makes people look a little more daft. You know, those type of things. If you go too close, they also have a weird, thing. And it doesn't mean that you can't. It doesn't mean that some people might have that kind of look. Some people's faces are small inside of the head, right, which I always think is fun. When you have a guy that he's got this nose and he's like, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?" And all this is just like chub around the face. It's a way to kind of create like variety, right, and stuff. But if you're just tackling, see how that looks like, that could be something. Here, I'm going to prove it. This could be a real human being. Not that this is the most realistic drawing, but using the same.
Why are you drawing me?
Oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry.
Oops. You're doxing me. No.
Oh, I didn't know. And this kind of has that. I have a friend who looks like this. He's a big dude. He's real big, but he cracks me up because he looks like his face is tiny instead of his.
But you already get a sense of the character's personality.
Yeah,
right.
From that, it goes back to what visual stereotyping. It helps tell the story.
Right.
So and look how far away I am from the edge of his head now. The sideburns are all over here. You can change the size of his ear and get more out of it.
But you can already guess that character just from the headshot is a big guy.
Right.
It's like he's like one of those big, lovable goofs in your story.
Already. It's Andrew. Oh, I shouldn't have.
Right. So that right there is like a way to do it. So, but when you're learning, sometimes we'll focus on something called the idealized man or the idealized human, and so. Maybe we'll turn this off for a second. We'll go back to normal principles in comics and superhero comics. And this is a very superhero specific technique. Although people would argue, you could argue that you would see some of this also in, again, I'm still treating this like this is the one eye in between. Okay.
Right.
You can argue some of this came from, like the Michelangelo and all the classic artists, like Raphael and stuff. But for the most part, we've popularized it in modern art and comics. Because you wouldn't always do this. Now, again, because in real life, some people's eyes are higher than others in other places.
Right.
I have one ear a little bit lower than the other.
Yeah.
One of my nostrils is higher than the other, and it drives me crazy. That's why people say they have a good side or not, because maybe it's the side that hides most of these flaws. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the ideal look, the ideal human.
Right.
If he was made out of a robot's parts, this is what he would look more like, because he's constructed anatomically and symmetrically to be as human as possible. All right, so when you're dealing with manga or principles you find in anime, the exaggerations are things like the eyes could be rounder and bigger pupils and irises. You know, that's a way. You know, I don't know if you know the history of that. That started manga. The manga look started with I forget the artist's name, but
the one with the Astro Boy.
Yeah. And Astro Boy was inspired by Walt Disney. So all the cartoony eyes you see in Disney, he was inspired by that, and he was borrowing from that. And then he is just his interpretation of it. So, but the principle, and the same thing happens in cartoon. Maybe you want the eyes a little bit closer, you know, for a certain effect, especially if they're young, they're kids. You know, if they're a small child, they might have larger eyes. They've often used this as a way to kind of use it for women also.
Yeah.
They have, because they're cuter and a little more.
Yeah, usually the children and the women have the big eyes, or the young teenage boys, you know, that they're like the hero.
Right. Well, they're young. They're young. So, but the tricky part of all that is to apply it to the angled face, the 3/4 view. That's where it gets a little trickier. But that's one of the reasons why I do this. I focused on this view the most, and that when people talk about that shot that I do, the undershot.
Yeah, that's the tough shot for me.
It is a tough shot, but I focused on it. That's why I got better at it, and I still struggle with it from time to time.
Yeah, every once in a while you just forget how to, like, wait, what? I've done this 100 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It happens to me.
But you see, even here, as long as you can plan the structure properly of the face and where the bones go, the jawline and everything. If I could show you what this looked like from an anatomy perspective, forget about the nose right now. I'm just going to draw where the socket is and all that stuff.
Uh-oh. Time to mute.
Okay. So already you can kind of see that there is at least the illusion of space between the eyes, where the eyes would go.
Right.
So the principle is still in place. Same thing here. I want my eyes to be the similar distance apart. But you're also playing with perspective. So things that are farther away are a little smaller, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, this is not a perfect lesson necessarily, but it's more just to kind of show you what how you should be looking at it in a different way.
Exactly.
So yeah, at first you're just learning how to draw an eye. The next part is going to be, how do you draw the eye in relationship to the other eye?
Okay. And
then the next part is, how do you draw the eye in relationship to the nose, then to the mouth, and then everything else. And this stuff here provides the grid. There is some great books. How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. People have crapped on that over the years, something fierce. But it's very informative if you know what you're looking for.
Right.
It covers a lot of these ideas very plainly. It's just that you have to kind of like power through a lot of Stan Lee's silly comments. True believers, Johnny B, blah 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 blah. And
you mean his epicness?
Oh yeah. That's that. But the section on anatomy where he goes over, he shows like Mr. Fantastic and then Sue Richards or Sue Storm. You can kind of really see there an interesting comparison, and then understanding how, because he's just taking that and distilling it. Just Henry mentions Loomis has great books, absolutely, but Loomis can, if you're not careful, you probably do well with Loomis, Grid, but a lot of people, it could be very intimidating because he writes like a textbook sometimes, and it can be very boring. He goes so deep into the details of this, but that's definitely where this all came from. In fact, Jim Lee credits Andrew Loomis for him learning from his books on how to draw things. So gives a little more perspective on why people did what they did, or why they followed a certain pathway. Then if you also look at what's his name? He also passed away. The guy that he had the school up in Jersey.
Joe Kubert.
Kubert, that's it. Yeah, he also had a very Loomis approach to things, but he popularized his version of it, his take on it. So this is the jerkmonger school right now, which is
classification.
Yeah, but anyway, I can get a little detail there, but the point is learning the structure of the face. So for me, everything starts with this dome, and then so the same way I talked about the eyes, I start with the dome because this was one version of it. I mentioned that book from the Prince of Egypt, but also there was a sketchbook. I think it's still available. Oh, that's right, EJ. Steve Manning is a Kubert School graduate and looks nothing like Kubert. Amazing. J. Scott Campbell had a book called The Danger Girl Sketchbook, and it's in print again. The original one. It's actually better to get it now because it's a little larger,
right?
And it's a little easier to see some of his techniques. But it was something he did back then, and he still has a lot of the same principles in his work. But if you look at a lot of his modern stuff, he learned to get rid of some of those ideas or modify them. But he was doing the same thing, and that's because he's also a big fan of animation. So animation books help a lot. There's been a few like the Walter Foster. But once you start with this, and you have the idea of how far apart the eyes need to be, then there's a next conversation about how low the nose is going to be, and where does the ear start in relationship to all this. I always do it wrong, though. I have always done it wrong, and I always have to feel my way through it afterward. I think
so you do the eyes between the lines, or you do it above or below? I mean, how do you know what to place them?
If I remember correctly, I learned this in art school. It was supposed to be, and again, Buscema handles this in How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, but you have your head. I think the ear starts at the eye. I just don't remember where the top of the ear goes, whether it's at the eyebrow or the eye itself. I think it's the eyebrow. I want to say the eyebrow. But you got to be careful with that, because if the eyebrow shifts, if that's what you're going to use, you might draw the ear too high because you're trying to match it to like a raised eyebrow.
Right.
That would be helpful. So just in general, where the eyebrow is supposed to. And this is more about like, you don't ever use most of these tools when you're drawing anything. It's mostly just to help you understand how the face works. And then you just kind of work through whatever angle you're going to draw. So that's why, for me, this one became easier to draw, because once I figured out where things go, I knew where it was. I could tell when it was wrong. I can't always express it very easily, but I can tell you when it's wrong for sure.
All right.
So let's see. Dylan Jackson says, I thought Jim Lee looked like Bridgman. He probably did look at Bridgman. Well, it's really a cadre of books. Bridgman, Loomis, and some people look at Hogarth. Hogarth was good, but Hogarth had a lot of like, his stuff just looked odd to me.
If you use Hogarth, you'll end up drawing like Hogarth.
Yeah. He helps me though. Like when I draw fingers, did you guys see this?
Yeah.
I just
leaving hands for last.
Huh?
We're leaving hands for last.
Yeah, hands could be tricky too. Hands are tricky, but they're worth it. Why is it always like this? Dang it. Dang nabbit. Let's see what I with that file.
Well, you got a Mac, huh?
Here, I think.
Do you have a Mac?
That's what I use. Yeah. An iMac, 27-inch iMac.
So the iPad might hook up and sync with that, right?
Yeah, it would. Oh,
wow.
If you use AstroPad, it works like a Cintiq.
Dang it.
So this is a very Hogarth approach to drawing hands and fingers. But it's only because he was heavy into the knobbiness of the joints.
Right.
Which is fun for me because my dad has hands like that. I learned to draw my hands looking at my dad's hands. And he's got like these, he's a slim guy, but he's got worker hands, and they're like real knotty looking joints. So this was built on this version, which is a little more heroic, a little more cleaner.
Yeah.
But you can see the
it is like
put onto his thumb.
The Incredible Hulk turning into Superman.
Say what?
It looks like the Incredible Hulk turning to Superman.
Yeah. Well, it's supposed to be Bizarro. Thanks for ruining it, Crid.
No.
Now everybody's gonna say, "Oh, looks like the Hulk." Whatever, Kirkmonger, you're an idiot. Yeah, EJ says I placed the ear between the eye line and the nose line for general idealized proportions. That's right. That's about right. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's just I'm just trying to. Has this been helpful at all?
Yes.
It's been a while since I've
Yes.
taught any of this.
Yes.
So yeah, you would. So you can see here, I put the ear there, and the bottom of the ear is supposed to line up with the nose. That's for sure. So what happens from here is you have. This is how it's supposed to be, I think. As you have this, the eye is supposed to come. Well, if you started with this, eye's about there, about halfway down the head, down the egg shape or whatever you choose to use for your start, and then halfway down from there is where the nose is. And then a third of this distance, I think it is where the mouth begins. So if you broke this into 3 parts, that's where the mouth goes. And then the eye, right? So you have the eye here, the mind's eye, whatever. And then the inside of the eye is where the nostrils go. Right? And then the eyebrow, of course, lingers back and forth. So as long as this is your general placement of stuff, like I said, some people have weird proportions.
Right.
Some, and we're just talking about, but you have to understand at least the basic version of this. And I'm sure, I don't remember how this went, but I'm sure the first person to make all these observations was probably looking at this whole thing going, oh, I see. For the most part, on average, the eyes are about this placement,
Right.
Anybody have anything else different? Or
would you say that you don't choose your style, that your style chooses you after you've learned the basics?
First of all, this is not Highlander. I think style is a sum total of all your influences and all your mistakes.
Exactly.
So whatever your limitations are, I think is what contributes to what you would call style. So you've heard me say before how this is not the way I would draw my comic. If I was going to draw a comic, it'll look more like let's see. For me, because of what I know, my limitations are my speed and where is it here? My speed and oh, this is not what I'm looking for, actually. I'm sorry. I
have the same issue with my laptop.
No,
I got so many files I gotta look through.
I opened up a file recently, and here we are. Speed's a big deal for me, so I choose to work in a different way, which looks like animation style work.
Spoiler alert.
So that's kind of how I choose. But you see, even here, even in this one, you can see the same proportion control here as well. Where the eyes go, they kind of line up the way they're supposed. You can kind of see where my line goes to divide the head, for the eye line.
Right.
When it comes to looking at stuff like this, no way, man. I like drawing like this. This is therapeutic for me, but there's no way I can do a comic like this. So the style really is about what is it that you're working on, and usually what are you working on the most. Okay. Now, for some people who are like fine artists that are, that they get some sort of stipend or something from the government to do art all day. I don't get one. So that stuff is they can be more like the traditional classic artists, so they're painting more like that. Some people it's because they discover, oh, I like that look with the brush stroke. Oh, cool, I'll do it more often. My black and red stuff is a limitation issue. I wanted to create something that had color but wasn't supposed to be all hopped up on steroids like people do with Copics. So I don't like that look. I like my stuff being clean and flat like old comics. So it's really kind of a callback to old comic flat coloring. Boom, black and red came about. So
and it's really striking. The black and the red. It pops.
Yeah. Well, and that, thank you, and that's the point, right? Because it's because it's red. Red's a popular color. It's, you know, that was the whole point. That's why I like it. That's why I like it, because I like that color.
I used to do black and red with my photography, believe it or not.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, especially when you see people do like Valentine's Day. There's a couple. It's black and white, and then the I don't know, the rings red. I don't know. I'm making stuff up. You know what I'm talking about. The red makes things pop. It comes off that plain black and white. Some of it too is because early on when I would sell artwork, I would sell my prints. They would always be black and white, because I'm a big inker guy. I love good, clean inking.
Right.
And I was like, why doesn't everybody else love my great, cool, clean inking? And it's because most people still like color. But I don't want to be a slave to a Copic collection. I don't care for that sort of look. So I'm like, how can I mean, I respect it, but I don't want to do it. It takes too long.
Yeah. I'm watercolors and gouache or digital.
Yeah. I prefer watercolors too. Just because it has its own, you know, it comes with, it's already packaged with its own texture and love, you know, and you're like, yeah, it's cool.
And it's quick.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It has to be fun. Art has to be fun somehow, whether you enjoy looking at it when you're done.
Right.
But I found myself doing stuff to please other people too much. So I already feel like I have a good handle on what's quote unquote pleasing. The rest of it is, okay, how do I command those tools to do what I need it to do? So for me, this sort of look, this is a cover, you know, the stuff that I've been selling lately on Drawn and Quartered or on the auctions. Also, you know, those are meant to be collected items. But if I'm going to work on a comic page, I might streamline that look a little bit so that, unless I'm doing something like if I could afford to spend 5 months on 20 pages, then yeah, sure. That's where you get like Alex Ross level stuff, right?
Right.
And then you're looking at his type of work and how gorgeous it is. Hey Ben, how are you, man?
What's up, fellas?
Woo! Hey, what's up, Ben?
What's up?
Hey Ben.
Hey.
I really get to hang out with you, man.
I know, bro. I'm stream hopping today. My little boy's taking a nap for a couple hours, so yeah.
Right on. So we're just talking about styles of art and why I do foolish things with my work.
I love it, man. Everybody loves your work. I got to get a commission soon. You're going to do a cover for me soon. You just don't know it.
Yeah.
You got it, man.
Oh, hey, are you going to MegaCon Orlando?
I plan on it. Yep.
Bro, I'll see you down there.
Oh yeah.
Avery road trip.
Yeah.
I don't do conventions anymore. I don't go anywhere near them.
Well, oh yeah, I get you. I understand why.
Why? Oh, is it personal?
He's afraid of getting eaten.
Oh, I'm not afraid of getting eaten.
No.
Dude,
I don't know. I was making
I'm 6'3", 280. I'm good.
I'm only afraid of that in bear country.
Yeah.
Oh.
I got a permit. I got a permit. I'm not worried about bears either.
Oh, there you go.
Me too, bro. Me too. Yeah. You'll be fine at the con. Yeah. You know,
I just don't go because I used to only go if I could get a table. Now I'm just like I don't want to spend like thousands of dollars to make like $300.
I'm with you. So here's what I'm doing. I'm going to do there's a $250 table option in all the artist alleys. I'm going to Tampa Bay. I'm going to go to Orlando. I'm only going to go the ones that's close and convenient for me.
Yeah.
Honestly, and then as long as I can break even, that's what I'm going to go for. You know.
Are you going to bring books to the?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I think we're going to bring. I'm definitely going to bring Ravage, some of the retail Ravage copies, and I think by then we will have copies of Earthbound. So I'm going to sell that for Narwhal, and I think we got a lot more coming up with Earthbound, and then he and I are doing a American manga style book together that'll be released this year called Null Zero. And what else? Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Is Narwhal going to come down too?
I don't think so. I don't think he's coming down for the con. No.
A little far for him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's up in Portland.
Yeah. No, man, that's great. We've always talked about getting together, man, and that's a perfect time because it's ready to be there. We'll go get something to eat, man, and hang out.
Oh, happy hour.
Oh yeah.
I'll be leaving about 6 every day. I'm not saying 9. Sorry, everyone. No.
Yeah, as we get closer, I'll send you like some of my details, and that way we can try to connect that way, even off before or after or whatever.
Do you already have a? Do you already have a table?
Yeah, they usually give me a table
Nice.
there, because of the pro work that I've done.
Right.
So I'll have that, but that's one of the reasons why I think to your point earlier about the price of tables and that being an issue. It is very challenging, and the conventions are not getting better. They seem to be getting a little harder. But as long as I can go and it's for a specific business strategy, then I'll make the effort. But if like yours, if you got that going on, why not? That's a great way to get it promoted and get it out there.
Don't you normally split tables though with somebody?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Not really. I have a business partner. We do stuff. I have a website called bigbridgedesigns.com, and that has some stuff that I've developed over the last couple of years with my business partner. That's meant to be like a test market for all things that you kind of see at the cons. We do mini mongers through that, which is like my little cartoony, chibi looking characters. And we've been seeing positive growth in those elements due to the way.
That's a good brand name.
Thanks.
I love the mini monger name.
Yeah, it's just because we see the female customer shops for that sort of stuff.
Right.
Like we learned a lot. You know, there's a great what was that documentary on Netflix about the toys that made us?
I saw that. I saw that.
Yeah. I like.
Did you see the one with
and how He-Man was created by committee, really? But it worked because everybody was passionate about it and took it seriously.
Yeah. Well, there's an episode on Hello Kitty that will, if you're willing to endure it,
that would be hard to take.
It would blow your mind what you can learn from that, though.
Really?
See, that's the one I skipped too.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you made a mistake. It's brilliant what their strategy was, how they came up with the product, how they try to market it, why it worked, why it didn't work in here in the States at the time, and why it's still a phenomenon even in Japan and beyond, and in Hollywood, and all these, celebrities still worship that little cat.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. It's a good brand study.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So it's just kind of it's the reason why I'm so passionate about it, and why I know whatever it is that's happening at Marvel is wrong, because they're doing it the way. When I first started doing t-shirt design, I used to design stuff for ladies, and it was a bunch of big, guys doing sports stuff for women, and we would draw like football helmets with flowers around it and stuff, and we couldn't sell it, right?
Right.
As well, you shouldn't. That's terrible. That's guys designing the way guys think about what we think is feminine, but women are more about, they want to be empowered. They want something that resembles their thing, or they want it to be attractive and cute. So this whole kawaii thing from that company, Sanrio, was like, that was their whole model. And before I even saw that, my business partner and I were like, man, this is what we've been seeing, man. This is where we see some of that flow coming from. I don't think they want what empowerment doesn't mean. I'm a jerk, like some of the stuff that they're putting out now in Hollywood, but it's empowerment, meaning like they want to have something for themselves, a product that they can latch onto, and they're already feminine, and they're thinking about these concepts like, hey, I like those cute things, and you see it all the time. All the kids that are making money at conventions now are selling cute stuff.
Some of the best time I've had in a long time, and it's hard for a middle-aged dad, older dad to bond with his teenage daughters, right? What can we all do together? And we loved going to see Wonder Woman. That was a great movie. It was fun. It was marketed well. Now, with Captain Marvel coming out, and they're saying, the whole thing with Brie Larson, and it's the negative. It's just negative now. My girl don't take me to see it. It'll be a bummer. Yeah. So that's it. I wish they would have marketed it differently, and been, like you said, empowerment and everybody together, but that's not their mindset. It's us versus them.
Yes.
You know what? everything you just said about Wonder Woman reminds me of my wife. Everything you just said about Captain Marvel reminds me of every person my wife has had to fire.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Right. Yeah.
I'm glad my girls aren't that way. You know, they've been raised in the country, you know, and they're pretty, you know, level-headed. I would dare any dude, you know, try to oppress them or touch, you know, I mean, they know how to protect themselves, you know, and not just with mace or something like that. They know how to verbally stand up for themselves. So, yeah.
I come from a family with a very strong mother. She was a city engineer. When they wanted to put City Hall here, she basically told the mayor no like 3 times the place he wanted to put it. He's like, no. She's like, no, I'm not permitting that. The utilities aren't there. You'll mess things up. Blah blah blah. I don't know the full story. I just know that, you know, it was like there was a joke of, you know, you got to get faith's okay, you know, kind of thing. So
that's great to be strong.
My dad was always okay that she made more money because he was real proud of what they had built together. Right. So, and my point was, I've never heard her say, and would probably be offended if you called her a feminist.
Right. Sure. Yeah. You know, I mean, how it is today, you know, I mean, there was a time in my life in, I guess, you know, college age. I have my sister, you know, I thought I was more of a feminist than some guys back then, you know, just I want her to make equal money. Nobody better touch my sister without her wanting to be touched, or we're going to have problems. And they're probably going to have a problem first because she has a mean left hook. Okay? You know, I don't have as good a left as she does. That's the truth. So, you know, but now it's just gotten all crazy with everybody. Well, not everybody, but extremists on both sides trying to make it us versus them, whoever it is. And that's BS. It's BS. It's not the real world.
Yeah, they're definitely making mistakes. I think they're presuming on an idea, and out. You know, gosh, we can beat this. This idea has been examined so much lately. I feel like I'm only reparroting when anybody else can say, but the reality is that they're doing it wrong because they're not following principles of business that make sense, that have always made sense for all along. They're pushing an ideology versus trying to sell a product. And when you have to sell a product, it has to be appealing. When you have, you know, in order to push an ideology, you have to force everybody into it. I think that's why we're all reacting to it now. Like, I don't really want to see that movie. I have no plans to watch that.
Right.
No.
Because it's propaganda. It's an agenda-driven anything. Nobody wants to go to school on their day off, you know, like.
Yeah. It's a social studies experiment gone work.
Black Panther wasn't, you know, they did it. They weren't beating anybody's head over anything, you know. That was
afterward, right?
Well, it still, you know, you could, if it was a all Scottish, you know, I don't know, you know what I'm saying, or a country, you know, that's great to celebrate it, right on. But it was an open movie for everyone.
Yes, they're good.
You know, and everybody loved it, and it was a movie that you could tell they really wanted to entertain you. That was fine. I mean, maybe Captain Marvel will be the same way and surprises, but the main actress is not a great salesman for her craft.
I got depressed yesterday when I found out they had signed her for 7 movies. I'm like, I'm
7? I thought it was really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
See, I had gotten myself believing that she was going to go in coma at the end of this movie, and Rambeau was going to take over. But
that'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
I mean, how did they ever answer that? Veronica Rambeau.
Yeah, I don't know how they I don't know how they got past that.
Apparently, there's a young girl that's supposed to be that character.
So she's gonna have to wait 7 movies before she can become something.
I have no idea.
Get out of here. That's so.
Not only that, I realized something with Endgame, the whole time travel thing. Did they do that just to kind of conform around the Captain Marvel movie, so they'll go back in time to the 90s and get her or something? What's going on? It just seems weird.
I think the MCU, personally, I don't know for sure, but I think moving forward is just there's not going to be an MCU like this. Everybody's getting burnt out. Captain America don't want to be Captain America anymore.
Yeah,
you know, nobody wants the lectures, and you know, I mean, I'd be interested to see what happens in Doctor Strange 2. One of my favorite characters ever. You know, Maybe if they did a Ghost Rider, or if they got good, and just made it back to the movies, like do a cool solo Hulk.
Yes.
I like the one with. I know the graphics weren't great, but I like the one with Abomination in it.
And I've never understood going until the bubble breaks. Why not slow down a little bit and say, okay, people are going to burn out.
Right.
And one of these movies are bound to be an epic fail.
Right.
So why not? Yeah, exactly. Because that's the way they're going to make money. But in the long term, it would be the way to make more money and keep it going.
Well,
my family, it's the way Disney's always done. They don't always push Mickey. They bring him out of okay, look at the vaults. The vaults is a perfect example. They let it out of the vault for a while, then put it back in the vault so that so anticipation would build back up, and then they'd let it back out of the vault.
I tell you what's ironic. What's ironic to me is that the reason why they bought the license from Marvel was because they didn't have enough stuff for boys. They only had princesses. Mm-hmm. And now that they have the stuff,
now they want to make the boy stuff for girls.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah. So it's a very odd shift in that whole strategy. Because you can see it in Star Wars. Star Wars was all the boys were into Star Wars, but it's not good enough. Okay.
It's the backwards of the gay rights movement, right? When the gay rights movement started, and it's very true. Everybody, it's like, hey, that's my cousin, that's my friend, that's my sister.
Right. Yeah.
Let's not do this as a society. Well, now it's the other way. Hey, I got a friend that is Christian, or I have a friend that is a military vet.
Exactly.
What?
That's exactly what happened with me.
Yeah. Me too. I don't want anybody messed up. That's not cool. Most good people don't.
Oh man.
Why not keep erasing?
Very odd time we live in, man.
It's a fad. It's a phase. That's what I think. I remember vividly in the 80s because I liked heavy metal. People really legit thought I was like a weird devil worshiper.
I used to wear a Kiss shirt when I was like 5, and other kids would be like, "Do you worship the devil?"
Right. I got that too. Because everybody said it was kids in Satan's service.
I remember when my dad first caught me listening to Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
That was an epic chat.
Right. They literally did. It was a phase. It was a fad. People really believed that, and
they really did.
I remember
he would have his reaction if he would have known I was listening to Redman.
Exactly.
What?
Yeah.
Well, I'm go ahead, brother.
No, so there's a cover for you doing for Peter.
Yeah. Peter is we've talked about this for a while before all this stuff, and I just thought this was a good time to put something out there and create it and kind of show my support of his situation by getting this done. And I think that's another what a weird.
What is this you're working on?
It's a cover for it came out on a Wednesday.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, he just asked for any kind of monster concept. I was like, yeah, I could do that. So
that's awesome.
So what I have here, the idea is, if I can show it, the idea is, oh gee whiz, I don't have anything to show. Well, I don't know what happened here. I wonder. Oh, there we go. The idea is that he's coming off of a comic rack.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Oh, neat.
So he's stomping on
nice.
Yeah.
And then
like you said, you didn't like backgrounds. Look at you.
No. I got to draw him if I got to draw him. I'm just saying. I hate him.
Yeah, because what you want to draw is you want to draw the monster, or you want to draw the superhero punching the bad guy in the face. It's like, yeah, but they're in an alley or they're going across the street, and it's like, I don't want to draw that part.
Yeah. I really believe that I'm really a concept artist in my heart. I'm not so much but I love comics, so I want to draw my comics. I want to draw my ideas.
Yeah.
But at the end, if I could just draw monsters all day, that's what I would do.
Sure.
Then I got a book we can work on together.
Uh-oh.
Just saying. I got something pretty cool. So we'll talk about that if you're looking for something.
All right, we'll talk. We'll definitely talk about that, man.
It would be 2020 anyway. My dance card, I'm sure yours is. I mean, maybe at the end of the year, but it's a project I have slated that I could use work on for a partner really for end of this year, beginning of next year. It ties into the caution verse. So yeah.
Yeah, man. Let's definitely talk about that. So, seriously. So.
How much? Let's talk. Actually, let's talk because before the MegaCon, maybe I would commission either a pinup or a new print for like the Wraith or something.
Okay.
Let's talk about that.
Okay, sounds good, man. That sounds really good. And I got Critius. Chris, you still got to work on your cover.
Oh yeah, that's right. I really forgot about that cover.
You always forget. I could just walk away with your money for the rest of my life.
No. I like to give you space, man. I don't like to bother nobody like that.
All right.
No.
We realize how busy you get, and backed up.
Because I think it's a big project, you know what I mean? So I don't bother so much.
No, don't talk like that. We'll get it done. Don't do that.
No, man, it's okay. I understand.
Shut up.
Dude, that's emotional manipulation.
Yeah. Oh, I don't want to hurt nobody. I don't.
It's okay, man.
Wait, where are you based, Crid?
I'm out in Beverly Hills.
Beverly Hills. Elliot, we're Florida boys.
I know, man. It's the connection.
Code. You gotta do mine first.
Wait, you're Florida too, Ben?
I am. I'm right on
here in Jax, man.
Oh, are you really?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm north of Jax. I'm on the Florida-Georgia line.
Right there by St. Mary's.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I ran into you at Gotham one time, Ben.
Oh yeah, right on, man. How you doing?
Doing all right.
I don't get out there too much anymore. I'm traveling so much, but the store's doing well.
Yeah.
Right on, man. How you been doing?
Oh, I've been all right. Just trying to keep busy.
Nope.
Yeah. Right on. Who else is in Jax? You said?
I am.
Arthur?
Kodiak. Yeah. He's here in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Dude, we gotta go. Maybe we'll go. What are you guys doing this weekend? I'm gonna go drink somewhere later.
I just had to jump on the wagon due to diabetes stuff.
Oh, God.
My wife and I bought a bottle of wine the other day, and it almost killed me, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, stay away from that.
Make Ultra, man. 2.6 carbs. You're good.
I got to finish coloring a page so I can get paid for it.
Right on. Page for what?
I'm coloring my friend's graphic novel, Hero, Hero. It's a kids-friendly graphic novel.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah. I'm the colorist on that, and we're working on the second graphic novel now. Well, actually, the art's all done. I'm coloring it, and we're relaunching the first graphic novel again March 1st.
We should all do like a Jacksonville comic book hangout.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Great.
You know what I mean? Like
Florida.
Yeah, Florida.
I was gonna say when Avery mentioned that we were all on the panel, all Floridians, I'm like, we're taking over from the Californians over there.
Yeah, no kidding.
They have
There's a lot of people on here. Well, Dixon's Floridian. He's down here.
That's right. We hang out from time to time at the cons.
So what you're saying is we're all Florida men.
We are all Florida men.
Hey, I met Elliot, and he didn't want to take my money. He wanted to give me free stuff. I was like, no, Elliot, that's not the way it works.
Doesn't that always make you feel guilty when you finally get to meet that person and they're like, oh, here's stuff, and you're like, no, here, take my money.
Yeah. He's like, no, take this. He gave me the Batman thing. I was like, I don't want it, Elliot. I got to pay you for it. He's like, no, take it. It's like, can't do that.
Oh, man,
and I want to.
It's a gift. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I appreciate it, Elliot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope this is looking pretty fun. I think he's gonna dig it. He said I was sketching it over on Sweetcast invited me over to chat with them for a minute. It's crazy. I thought I was subscribing to them. It came up on my thing here on YouTube, but then when I went there, I wasn't subscribed at all to them. I was like, is that one of those situations where people are getting knocked off?
Yeah, they're getting subbed off.
Oh, I didn't even get. Man, everyone. Doug, I'm not getting Doug's. I'm not getting Mike's. And I think I have a solution or maybe what's happening. When I'm signing on to ISO or a different user from my phone or whatever, sometimes there's certain things that it will block or shut down. So I'm wondering if these people like myself who are getting unsubscribed, or maybe it's something to do with logging on with a different device every now and then.
It could, I guess, in theory. Or maybe just know that you're on and they don't like you.
Yeah.
That's more fun to think of it that way.
I don't know. Because I have several different things signed into my YouTube all the time. My Xbox, my PC, my phone.
Yeah.
They're all signed in all the time.
Yeah, same here. I got like 5 different YouTube accounts.
Gee whiz.
Because I like using my phone.
I'm too lazy to have them. When I see people pop on and change their name to whatever the topic is, I'm like, God, I'm too lazy to do that. I have one. If I ever get shut down by YouTube, I'm screwed because I don't have another backup.
Oh, I see. I already have a backup. It was the account I was using before I was openly Comicsgate. Yeah. That I would still get illustration work sometimes.
Smart.
What I love about Ben's avatar is it looks like the way he sounds. He always sounds fun, excited, ready to go.
Yeah.
The sunglasses are there, Ben. Woo! Let's do it.
Yeah, he's 100% this in person.
I don't want to shoot down hanging out. I'll go. I just can't.
Like, today we're gonna go and hop over the alligator pit. Let's go. Come on, everybody.
I especially can't drink my favorite drink, which is the whiskey sour, and that would probably shoot me to the moon and back.
Oh,
just nothing but sugar.
Whiskey sours are good, man. Oh, I like a whiskey in Canada Dry, man.
Yeah. It's kind of a close proximity. Same drink.
I love a good old fashioned. Oh, so good, especially with Maker's Mark. Is that right? But alas, like I said, I barely drink anymore. I just wine once in a while. I'll have on occasion, and if I drink, I'll fall asleep. And every time I've tried to have like a beer or a glass of wine while I work, what's the point? I just zonk on screen. Did you guys ever hear my story about the time I was doing a Twitch thing and I had a glass of wine?
No.
They're virtually poking Elliot. Like, is he alive?
Like, is he alive? Wait, I'm in the middle of my stream on Twitch. I'm having a good time. Like, I know it's late. I had this glass of wine, and wine always puts me to sleep. So I'm like, all right, guys, listen, I'm gonna be signing off in a second here, but maybe let me just do a little more here, and let's see what happens. And then the worst thing that ever happened was it looked like my screen froze, and people kept chatting. Is he there? Oh no, I think Twitch froze again. Oh, wait a minute, did his head just move? And then for like 40 minutes, I was I played it on fast on time lapse, and you see like the flower blooming. It was my head shifting to the left.
See, that's good content. If you'd have saved it, you could have posted it over here.
Yeah, right?
I think I still have it somewhere. I think I might
good content. Like, remember this time here? Check this out.
I wish I still had some of my Twitch streams. I could speed them up and chop them up.
Yep.
I only had it because I still use OBS. Do that.
We were talking on Argos Creations with John Dillard and all that group about live streams are important. But we need to start building up a whole bunch of. Elliot's good about it, but I noticed some of the people get in the habit of just live streaming and not putting content on your channel.
Yeah, I prefer to live stream. I don't like making.
So do I, but you gotta do something. You gotta give them. Options.
I just don't know what. I just don't know what to do on my channel. Yeah. It's like I like the live stream and that's it.
No.
Well, just think of it like you're trying to communicate to people that you would normally hang out with anyway. What they like, just talk about that a little bit. It's hard because there seems to be so much covered already.
Yeah, it's like I have ideas for like really trolly videos that I think would be funny, but I'm kind of like, do I want to go down that route because I can get mean and.
Yeah, I decided not to. Man, I don't even think I'm doing much on my channel. I'm just going to pop in like Cecil to other people's channels.
Have you heard anything about the Tales Beyond the Gate?
Yeah, man, it's very cool. I'm definitely gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy the $60 T-shirt pack.
I was mad when my tax didn't come in because I was planning because he launched it on Valentine's. I was wanting to be one of the first ones in there, show my support. I still haven't got my taxes.
I don't know why I go to the end. You know why? I guess because a lot of myself included, people add things and change things. Unless it's something, I check out everybody's.
Yeah, I guess that's a good.
But I do check out everybody's because again, there is some that go quick. You know what I mean? So it's a catch-22. Do you want to, miss something that could go like pages, original pages? I love those.
Well, I have the 5 kids, so if I'm going to get it, I have to get it when I have the money or I won't have the money anymore.
Sure.
Yeah, one of them's going to need it, man. They're going to need glasses, braces, something.
Toilet paper.
Yeah.
Food so they don't die.
Yeah, always something.
If I could have all the money we spend on toilet paper back, I could probably put them all through college.
That's hilarious.
Apparently, you have to keep those things alive when you have them. I don't know.
Yeah. Avery's kidless. He doesn't understand.
I'm like, I don't know about that.
He's like, those are those little things that poop and scream.
It's like I got enough. There's enough pooping and screaming with just me around after Taco Bell. We don't need kids.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So, what do you guys think about the monster so far?
Dude, that thing is dope, dude.
It is totally dope.
It's great. I like it.
Yeah. I was trying something. I was going to do another hand, but I thought, I like the way that they designed that creature on Hellboy, the movie.
Yeah.
Had that extra weird appendage, or whatever. It's like, that'd be fun.
Oh yeah, I like that. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, you had that claw thing with the exactly tentacles.
Well, I've done a couple of designs for creatures and for some small films, and it's hard. It's always interesting doing that because you're always designing for someone in a costume.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, I'll get a director that's like, I like this idea. Well, what if we did something like this? And then that's a great idea. Let's try it. And then something interesting comes from it. But so I thought, let me apply. That's the whole thing right there. We have so much talent, and we're always giving it away to so many people everywhere else. Hey, aloha, Edwin Boyette. How are you, sir?
Edwin.
What's great about this? He's on the chat right now. What's great about this is that we get to really do our own thing for ourselves for the first time. For me, this has been so exciting.
Yeah, work for yourself. You never get rich making stuff for other people.
No.
Ever. So yeah, for sure. I love it. It's like like Chuck Dixon says, it's like we're like garage bands. It's the garage band days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We together and riff. We guitarists go back and forth, drummers go back and forth. You play with the new sound. It's a fun time. There's a lot of energy on this side of the aisle here.
That's a good way to put that.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
And then with our stuff, the best bands in the world, none of those bands ever asked people, should I be that band? Van Halen didn't get together and say, are we going to be Van Halen in the back of the, back of this garage, this party in Cali, yeah. I mean, that's what we're all
wanted to rock.
They just wanted to rock in their own way, and we're all making our art and we're creating our worlds the way we want to rock.
Yeah, I love that too. Some ideas that we're doing are so weird, and so odd.
Oh yeah,
but that's where all the great stuff comes from. If you look at think about Fantastic Four, how bizarre that was when it came out,
right?
Yeah,
that's what it needed. It need that industry at the time needed that weirdness. Spider-Man's weird,
right?
We take it for granted because he's become iconic, but that's an odd thing.
They thought that kids were going to be afraid. They were more worried about kids, the idea of the cartoon, that we all love. We're worried about kids being afraid, a song about a Spider-Man.
He was kind of scary to me when I was a kid. It worked.
I loved him, but it was that upbeat Spider-Man. That whole, so it was that jazzy that way.
I remember thinking, why would he pick those angry eyes? But it works, and I think so. Now we're in a time where that the companies are doing what they're doing, trying to make it uniform. And here we're like, you know what? Let's try something different. And we were all the guys like, no, only Spider-Man, only one way. But you know what? I'm at the point where I'm like, yeah, you guys can have it. Go ahead.
I am too.
Yeah. I've walked away from all of it, dude. I just don't care.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
Have you seen this Bigfoot bill that Avery's working on? I love it.
Let's take a closer look. I saw bits and pieces while he was talking.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Let's present to everyone. Dun, dun, dun.
He's painting with his toe.
That's awesome.
It's so good. Oh, look at the popsicle. You dropped it.
Yeah, I like the bomb pop. That's crazy.
That's perfect.
Yeah. I started this last night on Andrew's stream, on a This Big Corner stream.
Mm-hmm.
I have been laughing at Doug's head for too much. I really enjoyed it. That was worth it.
It's great.
Did you see what he did today? He put in a new video, and it's a very serious video. It's very interesting. But what was funny to me about it was because I know his hair is colored and his beard is blue. He only put up a picture of himself to talk. He must not feel comfortable enough anymore. It's going to be a while until we see his actual face if it's not a live stream.
Since he fulfilled the blue beard thing, I would go ahead and shave it off because he looked fine with the pink hair. He looked like a cartoonist that just wanted to do something.
But did you know what he said though? That the dye to make the beard blue actually stains the skin too.
Yeah.
Oh.
His skin underneath the beard.
So that's probably what happened. He probably shaved it off, and he's got a blue cake face.
Doug's a Smurf.
For originally, I was selling that you could tell me what tattoo to get, like a 6 foot, like my 6 inch by 6 inch spot. But I was just going to cover it up. If I really hated it, just cover it up. So he should
that's crazy though.
Hair, just shave it off.
But I heard that you were going to get something. Were you actually going to get a Bigfoot bill?
I am actually. I still am. It's going to be on my lower leg, I think. It's a Bigfoot bill and Earthworm Jim custom that Doug did for me in the American flag.
Oh yeah.
I wanted something patriotic, Earthworm Jim, and I love talking with. I know everybody has a story, but that was the last video game, after Contra and Mario, all
my
brother played together. That Earthworm Jim game, we loved that game, man, and it was one of the last ones like on Nintendo. So
yeah.
And then Earthworm Jim, and then a Bigfoot Bills, and then the flag. I don't know. I think it's cool. So I'm getting all this gray. It's going to be gray and black and white. You'll see the tentacles and the. You get like we'll know what it is, us, but I don't know. I wonder. You got to have a look. It's going to be a wraparound. So.
Oh, that's going to be great.
I've been meaning to get it. I just need to have some time to myself and go to Tampa or go. I like getting tests down there or Patrick Thomas Parnell, who made Johnny Phantasm. He works around a great tattoo shop in I forget where now, Sarasota.
Oh yeah. I got to get him on here. He over the summer last year or later in the year when we were doing all the Comics Gate stuff, he had always wanted me to read his comic, and he gave me some copies. But I don't know about you guys. It's hard for me to stop working to read anything anymore.
I don't even read like for benefit anymore.
And most of the books I buy for the art. And I'll read them eventually, but sometimes I have a book for months or years before I sit down and read it.
Right.
Yeah, no, I feel bad. I owe him though. I owe him because I like what he did. I'm gonna read it. I want to bring him on so he can promote it.
Yeah, he's awesome, man. We might be doing something together. We've been kicking around, and we hung out together in Tampa not too long ago. Great guy.
Yeah. He's fun. He was fun. He's a really interesting dude because he teaches, right? And he has all the tattoos, and then he's a good looking dude too. I'm like, man, you should be like making money on the stock market or something. You look sharp, but
Yeah, no, the tattoos. He has all the bad guys, like Cobra and the Decepticons and stuff. And he's engaged. His fiance is awesome. They're lovely people. And
right on.
Yeah, man, we're just all making art and talking about working stuff. Working on stuff. And I back Johnny Phantasm. I got the baseball shirt of it. and I went the whole shebang with that. I love the style of it. I love the name.
Yeah,
you know, Johnny Phantasm in New Detroit, 1977. I think it's cool, man.
Yeah, he gave me the poker chip too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. That's cool. I like that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we got a lot of people, man. We definitely, if you guys can all make it to MegaCon, we should all try to chill together.
For sure.
The Florida crew.
Yeah, he'll be at Orlando. He'll be there.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, he'll be there.
I'll get to Andrew to annoy Avery until he decides to come.
There you go.
That he is good at doing is annoying me.
That is true.
Oh my god.
Well, boys, I gotta get to some secret stuff that I gotta do for work for the Doug Tenaple project.
Hey, that's cool.
Too late. You showed a spoiler earlier.
Huh?
You showed a spoiler earlier.
I did.
Spoiler.
It's in this video. You might see it. Who knows? That's the second time I dropped it by accident, but there you go.
Yeah.
The name.
That's a way to build anticipation, though. That's a good flow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Hopefully, it works that way.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna. I think it's gonna work,
yeah.
man. I think it's gonna do well, dude.
Yeah. Oh, I told you on New Year's, I said, Elliot, I just have this feeling that something's gonna go great for you this year.
It's gonna be 6 figures, young lady.
Yeah.
Man, from your mouth to God's ears.
Yeah. Right on.
I'm rooting for you.
Yep.
It's gonna do very, very, very well.
You know what? I've told everybody else, but I haven't told you, Elliot. At least not voice to voice, of course. I found Comicsgate as a protective shield because of you, and I feel the same way you do. Listen to you through the years of one day. I hope it's a blanket we don't need. Yeah. But I found it, and I found all these people, these great people, and new friends and everything because of following you. Because my wife used to walk in and she's like, "Are you listening to your Bob Ross?" You remember I told you that? And she's and she's like, and what Bob Ross had, he had this soothing voice, but he didn't put you to sleep. He made you wait. You were waiting for the next thing he had to say. And that's I finally got a chance to tell you that. It's important since I told everybody else.
Man, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Do I still sound like Bob Ross?
Yeah. Except when you got on that. See, another thing I said to Tara, my wife, I said, when Elliot goes on a rant, everybody stops and listens because he doesn't rant that often. And when he does, so when you're a quiet person and you have something important to say, you know, everybody stops and listens. So like the epic rant the other day when you had a couple on you, it was epic. It was good. And because you don't normally go on a rant like every video or whatever, you know, it was poignant.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You know what? Go ahead.
No, I had an important to say.
Say what?
No, I had an important to say.
Oh no, everything's important to say. What are you talking about?
I was gonna say that if it doesn't hit 6 figures, you know what I'm gonna do for you? I'm gonna let you take me out to eat.
Oh, thanks, kid. You're a pal. No, I'll tell you. I find we had this great conversation the other night on Blacklist Universe. I see you, by the way, Mike. And we were talking, and it was good stuff, really good stuff. And I haven't had the experience that everyone else has had. That said, that doesn't mean that I don't have an opinion. However, I find that it's difficult for me to articulate my ideas sometimes because I definitely don't want to make someone look foolish. Anyone around me look foolish. I want you guys to be well represented. But I also feel like
Nasser? Can we still make Nasser look foolish?
Yes.
Yeah. That's fine. That's fine. No, but I mean, like, I just think in general, I feel like I'm thinking about doing a comic strip about some of these ideas instead of talking about it, because sometimes I have a very good gut feeling about my thoughts, but I don't always know, or I don't always feel like it's an appropriate thing to talk about since I don't have the experience. But I see what you guys have gone through, and it's terrible. And I definitely stand with all you guys, just like I stand with Peter Simeti. And I hate that we even have to say stuff like that today, right? But it's the vernacular of the day. So if I'm going to stand with anything, I'm standing with the guys in Comicsgate who have been abused and who have been whose families have been threatened, and it's not good and it's not right, and it is, as far as I'm concerned, evil. And so we're going to have to stand together and hang together and be together, despite our differences and despite our opinions, and just to work towards encouraging each other's individual market to grow, so that, because what we need is what we all need is to step away from the voices that are supposedly louder than us, and the ones who, maybe I am a quiet guy, but it doesn't mean I don't have something to say. Maybe I don't speak very loud, but maybe it's not because I don't have a voice that needs to be heard. So, and that's for anyone. And I hate, and I don't use that word often, but I hate that these people have turned this around and try to make us look foolish, or try to make us look stupid, or try to make us call us things like Nazi. And I mean, I'm repulsed by that.
Right.
And I don't want that to be the legacy that's left behind by a bunch of guys who have great ideas, whose only crime is that we were creative. And we're not going to do that. We're going to work together so that all the boats float together.
Oh, love that speech.
Amen.
Amen. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I 100% with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we'll see. And maybe, like I said, so I'll try to find better ways to do it. But maybe it'll be a comic strip. Maybe it'll just be Ben's face from that avatar.
I think that's a great idea. I'm down.
Yeah. Just something fun, man. I just need to find another way to express it, because, like I said, I don't always. It's all because I don't have the experience and the data that you guys sometimes have. So I'm like, I don't know how to talk about that in an educated way. But I know that in principle, I understand it completely. So, you know, sometimes it takes a Coward and Hobbes to tell that story, right? You know, something like that. We'll see what I have time for. Right now, I'm drawing monsters, and I have secret projects with Doug TeNapel, and I got future projects with Ben and Critias, and I have Nasser still going to be sad about everything.
Future commission for Kodiak.
Future commission for Kodiak. I got all kinds of stuff cooking.
God, it's taken so long to get you that money. I am sorry about that.
Oh no! Listen, trust me, man. I have some people waiting still because I need to get some things wrapped up. This has been difficult, getting this project prepared and everything squared away. Hold on a second. Hold on. I've just been interrupted. Something fierce. Hold on. Give me a second.
All right. So if y'all haven't already, let's go ahead and hit those likes, guys. We also have. He doesn't have it here in the chat, so I'm gonna start throwing some links. To
you got the copy of the links?
You have them?
No,
I'm just
sorry, guys. I'm back.
There he is.
My wife sometimes she thinks she's like, oh yeah, you're not doing anything important. No. Just my show. Yeah. On my channel.
Just the thing that's going to allow me to make a living. Just
yeah.
Doing
my wife,
but my own stuff if I build an audience.
We was streaming last night talking about probably the most important thing I've talked about yet online. And my wife starts doing dishes, and the sink's right next to my office, and it's like, totally open face.
That's happened to me on EVS stream, where like the bathroom's next to the room I stream at, so you hear the toilet slam, you get the water running. Like,
at least it's not as bad as hearing Doug pee. So
that hasn't happened with him yet, right?
With Doug?
No, he didn't do that. It was Ellis.
Oh, was it Ellis?
It was
Epic
hilarious.
Ellis. Epic, yeah.
Did you hear that, Ben?
No, I did not.
You know who Ellis is, right? Wise Ellis.
Yes.
Well, you may know.
I haven't seen Ellis in a while. Of course, I haven't.
He's been on Drawn and Quartered. That guy's a champ.
Yeah, he went from like he shot up really quick, and I liked what he was doing there, showing how he was teaching himself so fast how to draw.
Yeah. Well, he one day he's on the thing, and he's just an older dude that cracks us up, right? Mm-hmm. he's like, yeah, I'll be right back. I gotta go take care of something. All right, go ahead, Ellis. And we hear this washing. Is he washing his hands or what's? Oh no! Oh
Oh
no!
no!
And then he goes like, okay, I'm back now. Whoa! Whoa! No! Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it was rated X.
Yeah.
It was
He
watched
played
rated-
that off too. He played that off well. It's just
Yeah,
like,
he just
hey,
oh well, you know, I'm old.
are you not entertained?
Yeah, that wasn't one of Doug's like epic streams, the 8-hour streams of just him inking and.
Mm.
Whew,
Those
poor
were
guy.
bad.
That guy had a hell of a time when he got sick while he was working.
Yeah. Doug?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was worried about him because he stopped. Yeah.
I had that happen to me last year too. I had shingles, and you know where it comes from? Stress.
Yeah.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah, you gotta be careful, fellas. Take care of yourselves.
Right.
Don't get old like me and get crusty.
You know what? I miss your walking streams. What happened with those? Huh?
Oh man, that's a good point. You know what it was? I got tired of every time I would do the stream. Obviously I don't have any Wi-Fi out there, so I'm just walking around. And then when I try to talk, if the wind blows at all, it sounds like I'm in a wind tunnel, or people beat me up with toilet paper. It wasn't that helpful. Wasn't that helpful? But yeah, man. So anyway, I think what I was just trying to say was I'm excited to work with everybody, and we're gonna have a great 2019. It sounds a little late to say that now, but I still feel like it's only been a week since we started this year.
Mm-hmm.
Golly, it's flying by already, man.
Oh man.
I know.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
We're already on the 3rd month coming up, March.
Well, it's almost like when you get to the 15th, it may as well be the end of the month now. That's how it feels to me. There's no chance to catch up on anything. I'm like, oh man, I intended to launch this thing with Doug a couple of weeks ago, but one thing led to another. I got to take care of this thing. Oh, we got to pay this bill.
All my dates by like 30 days, just I push back all my dates because I want to have the videos done first. I want to have, things like that. Make sure Ravage is all shipped out, it's imminent. But dealing with the printers is a lot more, detailed. And, I went with a new printer who'd not necessarily done a bunch of comics, but everything's looking good, So I have my own print, my own stuff, my own infrastructure at least. What I'm doing, guys, I'm actually doing 24 pages of story and 12 pages of art and letters from the editor and things like that.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
Yeah, I like it.
Good idea.
I want to make it a little better. And I don't know. What do you guys think of this? Did you see Graham Nolan's Monster Island, an art book, 11 by 17 size book?
Yeah, the coloring book?
Yeah, well, that's his
yeah.
graphic novel and and his art book, he made them in 11 by 17.
Yeah.
So I'm loving that. I think I'm looking around. I'm definitely going to offer that as an option on my next Indiegogos.
Yeah.
That's a cool idea.
I've been thinking about that. I have an idea I want to do, and I would like to do it in black and white, printed original size, hardback 11 by 17. But
dude, who says we can't? Who says we can't?
There's no way I could get the funding for that.
I don't know. But do the Indiegogo and find out. I mean, I'm betting there will be artists and collectors out there who would want that. I'll want it. I would pick that.
I tell you, I wonder if there's room for everyone's talking about the what do you call them? The anthologies. Is there room out there for because one of the things I'm going to plan on doing this year is I'm going to launch another volume 2 of Black and Red just to help, cover some costs until I can get to the next project. And I wonder if there's something there, like you just saying, a coffee table book of all of us working together.
I would think so. I would think that's definitely possible.
That's why what they're doing with Tales from Beyond the Gate is so important. I mean, it's got Malin in it, it's got Skyver in it, it's got a couple newbies.
It's got masters.
Yeah, it's got some work from Nasser. It's really interesting. And
if
you look
it does, Nasser. Oh,
there's a feud going on right now with Nasser and Elliot. I think it's more on Nasser's side though than Elliot's.
What did he do?
On Nasser's side.
Nasser tied. Oh, I just coined a new term.
What happened? What did he do? What's the feud about?
I have no idea. He he sent me this idea for a character. I developed a concept art for one of his characters, and he wanted me to draw it. I think he thought that I would fall in love with it. I don't think he understands how much of art can be just a business for me.
Right, right.
So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll draw your thing for you. But he's like, don't you love it? Like, yeah, it's cool. I mean, but he told me he had like a 78-page book for it, and he wants me not 78 pages, a 78 issue run.
Wow.
I said, nah, sir, I don't even know if I'll be alive that long.
and that's where the artists, I mean the writers, kind of lose the concept of dealing with artists. Is you don't realize how the very first thing, artists don't go, oh wow, that's a great story. They think, how the hell am I going to draw that page? Or how, oh man, that sounds like a lot of work. You know, we don't have the Joe. This is why I like being a writer and trying to teach myself to draw. I think when one day I start paying somebody else to draw my stuff, I think I have a little deeper respect and knowledge of what they're going through.
That's one of the things I love about Richard Meyer. He's such a sharp guy, and I don't know if he draws, if he ever drew or not. I have no idea.
I think the first ones were his.
Yeah, the first Jawbreakers, he drew that very first one.
I'll have to check it out. But regardless of that, he's such a student of it. And to your point, I think by at least learning the principles, even if you're not, you know, the most amazing artist, you can still at least understand these things. I talk a lot about being able to edit yourself if you're an artist, but how much better would it be if you could also be the editor of your own project with an educated voice on what you're looking at, and then know what to say no to also. Because some people are like, oh man, that art looks great. And I look at it, I go, oh, it's okay.
You're right.
You know, so
I've been trying to do that. You're darn right. Like Mitch has a series. I wish you guys would do that. All the, you know, you artists would do more of the 101 stuff. Mitch had like 4 101 videos, and me and my kids watched them.
Oh, good. Yeah, and if you can learn anything from that, that's helpful, because that puts you in a position of confidence when you say, I don't think that's a good idea.
Well, not only that, it saves you money. I cost us, I don't know, I cost me probably $6,000, because there's a lot of pages that I did. I wrote a lot of screenplays, is how I started everything, and I took like film directing classes and painting with light. I took that series of classes and stuff, but I never was a good artist. But anyway, Jimbo and I, when we were first starting to work together, I approved a bunch of pages, and I was like, yeah, I would like it like that. But then when Dixon came on, we all got together, and he's like, well, we need to space this a little better. We need to frame it differently. So I said, you know what? I'm going to pay for it. We're going to redo the pages right. Oh, wow. I wish I would have thought about all that stuff before I approved the pages. Live and learn. But
yeah, sometimes I think one of the things I can offer is art director.
Yeah.
To some of these projects, as a business thing. Because I feel like some of us we have great ideas, but again, I am hooked on the concept of producing stuff that's so strong that you can't ignore it. That's my mantra. It's gonna be so badass that you're not gonna be able to say, "Oh, that looks like indie stuff." That's not a bad thing.
I want every one of my stories to be high concept, like you would go see it at a movie. And I'm bringing on other writers, that I like and love, with Dixon and Barron to collaborate with me.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
And give people an opportunity.
The art, like you're saying.
Yeah, because I think when you have a strong looking product and a strong readable product, then it works. When it's not those things, then they come around with their weak sauce. Oh, it doesn't look as good. Screw those guys. But we can make it work better. I think we have that. Like I said, I can't believe how much talent I'm surrounded by in this movement.
That's what I was telling Avery and Andrew last night. Is for the first time, I'm starting to get friends that I'm a fan of, and that's kind of a humbling experience.
Yeah,
me too.
Yeah. Chris, you going to say something?
No, I said, yep, I agree. That's how I feel when I met all you guys.
That's not what I thought you said when you looked at me. You said, "Oh man, Elliot, you're really fat."
When I first met at the Comic-Con, I was like, "Oh, I imagine you'd be skinnier."
Oh, Really?
Yeah.
I was just kidding. Thanks a lot, Crit.
Chris looks like he could run circles around all of us. So
Oh, that dude, he looks like an assassin, like a ninja.
like
He
a
walks
ninja.
around.
Yeah.
I look like a twig that falls to the cracks on the sidewalk.
I think though Edwin the Wise is the most dangerous. He was a combat vet.
Yeah.
He's on the DL. Very very.
He's got that trained sense of calm. You can tell he has had to train himself to be a calm person.
Right.
Who's Edwin the Wise?
Edwin Boyette.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not gonna kill you today.
Right.
I wish I had my own. Everybody's got their Edwin voice, but I can't do Edwin. But it's like I have developed these skills over a period of time.
Right. No, Edwin would be like, I'm not gonna kill you today. We're gonna sit down. We're just gonna talk about it like gentlemen. And then I'm gonna kill you tomorrow.
If you don't come to your senses.
Right.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you a chance like a gentleman.
Wait. Jerks got it. Hold on.
Oh, okay. Tonight we have Ben tonight. Okay. Right. Yes. Okay. That's all you need. And you keep moving.
That's it, man.
You see this hand? You see your face?
Mr. Macho. I love Ben.
Yeah.
He's a sweetheart.
I love that one.
And he's scary. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, he's wonderful.
Elliot, you seem you done trademarks and stuff like that for businesses, and you've come up with logos and etc. When you're dealing with the logo and say you're like me because you're afraid to put it out there because it's you don't know the process of getting it trademarked. Damn, I kind of lost what I'm trying to ask. With say you put a logo on a Tomo, okay, and Tomo's about to come out, so you're kind of not worried about it. But what is the process saying? Okay, I need to trademark this. What do you do next? Would you concern yourself, or would you just put the book out and copyright it?
That's so funny you say that. So ironically, I'm not going to bring it up, but I learned from listening to a podcast one time, and some comment about that very thing came up, and I thought it was fascinating. The consensus seems to be, and maybe Ben, you can speak to this too, because I know you have some stuff that you have wrapped up, but the consensus seems to be that if you've created something, first of all, the law is that if you create something, it already is copywritten by our copyright law. Mm-hmm. However, what you're not able to do is to defend it. So what you want to do is you want to register it so it can be defended. So you can say, at least I registered it with the copyright, with the Library of Congress, so that you can say this is my mark. However, if Disney were to come along and take your mark, how long could you possibly defend that mark against them? How deep are your pockets? That was a comment, and I thought, man, I never thought about this. So they said it doesn't matter what you will have, though, is the street cred of the internet by showing that you've done it and you were the first one to do it. And everybody's gonna say, hey, wait a minute, Disney, you can't. That's Kodiak's thing. You can't take that from Kodiak.
Well, technically, if you're just worried about street cred, won't Poor Man's copyright handle that?
No.
Well, what I'm saying is everybody on the internet knows that you first introduced that symbol on.
No, I'm saying it's not something you can use in court. It's just something that
well, Poor Man's copyright is.
I don't know.
Well, so what I've done is different over the years. I've done this since the 90s, or at least 99. I started 98, 99. So I first sent myself a Poor Man's copyright, which is just, I print out the script, print out the character designs, anything I have, and mail it to myself. And I have never opened the letter. I have a stack of letters that I've mailed to myself over the years. Then the number two thing I do is I go to WGA.org, the Writers Guild of America. It is primarily for movie screenplays. However, it is a central registry, so it can be used in court. It gives you the actual registration date and a number that when you go to court to defend your original IP, you can go back and say, hey, historically, it has been this.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's cheap. It's like $10 or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe 20. I think something
Right.
like that, $20. But
Yeah.
that's the way I've done it. And I actually had to use the poor man's copyright method I owned a company called Orb Films, and I ended up using to defend myself in court, quote unquote in court. We were going back and forth with legal letters, and then my lawyer sent a Xerox, copy back and faxed it over for, to basically showed I had done this in 88 or 98. So that's how I was able to prove it.
Yeah. I see Draken in the chat says trademarks and copyrights are different. So yeah, that's definitely a different thing too. And I'm not perfect at the knowledge of all this stuff, but I will say that if I'm not mistaken, copyright is something that you copyright, say, like a piece of art or a story,
music, literature,
or music. But a trademark, I think, is when you use it, like the Superman logo, the Superman type,
right?
in the arch with the bevel. That's trademarked. So technically, you're not supposed to do that, even though I think Indiana Jones did it, which I always thought was weird. But
what do you mean? They did what? Oh, they trademarked the Indiana Jones.
No, they created a shape that looked similar to the Superman logo. I'm not even sure if they still have the trademark, because that also it's not a permanent thing. You have to always update it and keep it going back and forth. But so when I used to work in licensed sports, it was things some marks were used with a TM, which would be trademark, and a circle C for copyright, and then a circle R is when it's being registered for that copyright. So those are some of the different. But that's, again, this is very limited knowledge of that stuff. I never, because even at that, there's still a lot of debates. There've been many court cases about copyright law that have not been consistent, because it's a very challenging thing, especially with the addition of intellectual property. Has made it very difficult for certain things to be defended or not. I mean, if you look back at things like Shazam or Captain Marvel, I don't know if you guys know the story for that. I might mess this up, but the whole thing was that they were suing Fawcett at the time. I think they were suing Fawcett because they wanted to keep the whole flying strong angle on Superman, not on anybody else. They tried to claim copyright on that, and they lost, I think. So they ended up buying Fawcett, or buying that character, and then they shelved him, because he was more successful he was selling more than Superman was. So they wanted to get rid of him. They couldn't do it. So it's funny how one of our favorite characters is also for me, Superman's one of my favorites, but he's a what do you call it?
Cheater.
Yeah, he's a cheater. Yeah, I'll take that. Let me see here. Someone's making a comment about something else. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and then the other part, Draka's also Draka's got a lot of good information here so far that I'm scanning. I can barely see because I need glasses. But anyway, yeah, the whole thing though is the thing is that you want to just get your logo going, and as long as the point I was making about the street cred isn't really street cred. What it is just that it's what's going on the internet now. Once you can have a mob of people that say one thing, they can also defend something. So if everyone says, "No, wait, man, that's Ben Hennessy's mark," oh, okay, and then whatever court case you could win or not, you would lose the case in the public opinion, and so maybe you wouldn't sell that product really well. So that you see that happen when people say, "Oh, you're doing this," and they get a company to buckle and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, our bad," and they stop doing it.
Right.
But that's really, like I said, if I had to. So the only thing you can do is either keep your stuff hidden until you're ready to release it. But in today's society, everything's so out there anymore. It's hard to do that. Or you can go ahead and try to get it registered at the Library of Congress, or whichever format you choose. But that's really just a way for you to officially, with a government recognized way to defend it. That's what that's for, because it technically is copywritten when you create it. But
that's what we did. I mean, not like all the ones I've announced, we gave to the lawyers to actually get official copyright and all that fun stuff. But when I was just writing it, that's how I protected myself, was WGA and poor man's copyright.
Yeah, we're always very tentative because I used to have this thing in the art world where we would say if something was if we changed something by 20%, then we could use it.
It's funny.
It would never. It was a myth, and we were teaching it in school, all kinds of stuff. But in every court case, it always fell apart.
What was the percentage? Because I heard 30%. I don't use it, but where I heard that from was from jewelry making.
It maybe it's just that it wasn't really valid because the copyright. If you could defend the copyright in court, if you could prove that you did it first. So that's like that whole Vanilla Ice thing. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. They supposedly changed it, but I guess what the purpose of the discussion of it as a myth was to help us just to say let's just do it the right way anyway.
Right.
Create your own thing instead of trying to piggyback on something else. It really only matters if you're creating something. Like I heard someone mention something earlier today in a chat, and I was like, oh, I wish I hadn't heard that because it sounds like something I kind of have going in my idea.
Yes.
But I can't control that. And we're all borrowing from the same sources for all of our stuff.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some overlap as long as we're fair to each other, and I think that's the best, some kind of honor among thieves, if you will.
Yeah,
that's probably not a good way to say it.
I was designing rings. I have like rings, self-defense kind of rings and different stuff for a while. And that's where I got it from. They were saying if the ring was 30% different than yours, because I thought somebody was taking my design, there's not much you can do. You can't, like a ram's head ring. There's only so many ways you can make a ram's head ring.
Yeah. So that's why, like, great point. So that happens a lot with things like say, for instance, Thor. Like, if you wanted to, you could do a comic book about Thor. It just can't be Marvel's Thor.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Right, because Marvel owns the whatever trademark or copyright, whatever it is they own, on that particular design of their version of Thor.
Yep.
But Thor, the character, comes from public domain mythology.
Right.
So you can't copyright the character. It's like copyrighting air. You can't copyright air.
Right.
But if you draw a logo and you call it, air, or whatever. Yeah. I just gave a logo a sound.
It's just like the Batman emblem on his chest. They have to change it, the design every time, so they can keep copyrighting it. I mean, trademarking it.
No kidding. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
That's why they were doing it. Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting. Oh, well, that's interesting too. Because I remember when I first saw the logo, I saw it on the Bacardi label first. I was like, that looks like Batman. But then, obviously, it wasn't first. But I'm just saying that.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's difficult to make that distinction. But yeah, I think overall though, I think as long as your stuff is original enough, if you call your guy Jack and another guy calls him Jack, well, whatever, deal with it.
Yeah. With the character design, I always go with there's nothing new under the sun. But what I'm worried about is like that Punisher symbol on his head. I don't want to lose my design of that mark that he wears or something.
Well, then the only other thing you can do is modify it for your needs. Maybe the Punisher, like here, I'll just draw it real quick. If let's say this is the Punisher skull. Well, that's terrible. But anyway, peekaboo. Mm-hmm. Maybe yours has a piece of the nose that kind of lines up with the thing, or maybe it has a brow or whatever. At least you modified it, and it's different. Different enough because you can't.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If I put my symbol out there, somebody will do that like the Punisher. Like if they've seen the Punisher, my symbol isn't the Punisher symbol. I'm just saying it's a little white simple logo, and I want that logo trademarked.
Gotcha.
It's kind of like Hell's Angels, and I only got into bikers because I deal with bikers with my story. So, and then because of research, I got like immersed in these things. And like, if you use anything Hell's Angels, you're going to get hell on wheels coming at you. And it's not going to be them. It's going to be their lawyers. Funny enough.
How weird.
Because their Hell's Angel Death's Head is trademarked. And of course, if the Hell's Angels came after me, I'd just be like, you know, here, have my story. Forget about it. You know, it's like
I'm packing it up. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely a complicated thing, but I would say just put your thing out there, man. Chances are, you know, if worse comes to worse, you may have to modify it in a different iteration of it, and it is what it is. I don't see that that's we can't live in fear. You have to still put your stuff out there. That's another big problem. If you're not careful, you'll put yourself into some sort of like a paralysis, creative paralysis.
You're darn right.
Yeah.
I did for a long time.
Yeah.
And so, and I made a comment in one of the conversations I had earlier. I learned this from I forget who said this, but I either read it or I heard it. But they say if you have an idea, try not to talk about it too much. You know, keep your circle of who you share that with very, very tight. If you're looking for like help with it or whatever, because sometimes the act of telling the story, you get the response you want from just telling the story instead of actually producing it. And so just as a way to keep yourself accountable to completion of the project, don't share too much of it because you're giving away so much. So there's other reasons why you should keep things to yourself also, because you want to maintain your energy for the project. Because I've told people stories of stuff that I had in my head, like, yeah, that's a great idea. When are you going to do it? Maybe I'll get to it, because I got the reaction I wanted.
But don't you feel you're working? Don't you feel you're working it out a little bit though?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That's true.
You know, like I have nieces and nephews. There's a couple of, I'm not going to tell you who, but there's some people, some guys on this planet that know the whole caution verse. You know, that I've drank scotch with, and you know, and if I can't get you, but you know, kind of like oral storytelling. You know, by the fire, and you know, play some guitar, or you know, but then you kind of get in that vibe of just drinking scotch and telling stories. So you know, if I can't get you excited in person, you know, and if I'm not excited about it, I can't get you excited about it. Maybe there's something wrong with the story. You know,
on the flip side of that is you're sitting there for 2 weeks. You have this great idea. You're like, oh, that's so awesome. And then you speak it out to somebody and you hear yourself and you're like, that's not really that cool.
Right. Right. Your 8-year-old or 10-year-old looks at you and you're like, huh? You know, if you can't explain it to everybody, but it doesn't have some kind of universal appeal. It doesn't have to only appeal to one group. It should appeal to have something for everybody that they can latch onto as a story. You know, that's where it gets problematic. You know, so if nobody can latch onto it, then it's artistic masturbation. You know, you're making for yourself.
Well, that's the thing. I think it was just more of the idea of like being careful that you don't give away your concept with all the power and the strength of your storytelling in the actual telling of your story verbally,
right?
And cause yourself to that same kind of paralysis happens. You're like, oh, well, I've already done it. You know,
my paralysis was because I had a bad experience with a movie that was optioned of mine. That I wasn't like, I didn't collaborate with anybody. You know, like I just kept writing and writing and writing and keeping it private.
Yeah.
For like 15 years, you know, and then I had this whole mass of stuff, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do something with it, you know, and so I rewrote it, and then I said, you know what, if I can, I'm going to ask some great collaborators to work on it with me, and here we are.
You know, the other thing too I've experienced is how many times have you done something that, man, that would have been a great story. I'll get to it next time, and then a couple of years later, somebody else did something very similar, but now it's
many. That's happened to me
many. Yeah. I do believe ideas are in the ether. You know, we're all connected somehow.
Yeah.
Ideas are out there. I do believe it.
Yeah. And so you got to get it out. You got to get it out there. You got to produce your thing. And so don't let something stop you from doing it, you know, whatever that is, you know, just get it done and get it out there. You know, you could always say, I'm sorry, and change the logo later. You know, oh, you're right. Let me reprint it for, you know, version 2 with the new skull logo. I don't know.
Right.
But if you don't do it and you let it linger there, it can become, it just sits in your quote unquote vault and never gets used, never gets seen, never sees the light of day. And you'll always be, I wish. That's where I'm at now in my life. you know, I'm in my mid 40s. I'm thinking about the stuff I want to do, and I'm tired of saying. I have a friend who used to tell me, "Don't be like me. Don't get to this age when you start saying things like, I wish I had done that after all.' I don't want to get to there anymore. I want to produce something. Hopefully, it'll be lucrative, monetarily lucrative, so I can pass it on to my children,
Right.
And give them an inheritance of some sort. You know, that hopefully they can still have inheritances in the future. But
Yeah.
you know, that's important. So do yourself the favor and get it out there. You know, produce it, get it done. If it takes you to draw it yourself, even if you're not the best artist in the world, draw it anyway.
That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
It can always be redrawn. It can always be, you know, half the people, like I said earlier, a lot of people are not even that discerning. They'll be like, "Oh, this looks great." Like, not really, but you're talking to an art director. I can pick it apart. Don't let my opinion stop you from sharing it.
Right.
It's just my opinion, you know. And if you want my opinion to make it more polished and that sort of thing, well, sure, that's different. You know, we can work on that. That's one of the reasons why I've always learned to, like, I won't usually comment like that about it. I won't say a project sucks or it looks terrible. I don't talk that way because it's more about what are you trying to communicate? You know, does the style work for what you're trying to do? You know, if you're doing a slice of life story, you don't need Jim Lee art for that.
Right.
You know, and conversely, if you're telling an action story, you know, it doesn't need to look like blankets. You know, it might need that kind of pizzazz. Or maybe you're doing a comedy and then it looks this way. You know, same thing with music, same thing with dance, same thing with surgery. the right tool for the job. So because of that, we got to be careful that we don't let people's biases influence our ability to produce the concept, because in that case, you may as well have not even shared it at all.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, so definitely encourage all you guys to do it. Put your work out there. Don't worry about copyright right now, because, you know, I mean, I guess you should worry about copyright, but I'm saying if it's going to keep you from getting the story out there, at least it'll be done and you can get it out there and you have something to fight for, or you got nothing to fight for the rest of your life.
I would fight self-doubt. You know, I would fight self-doubt for new creators. I would recommend that. And what SJWs, quote unquote, say is true. There is a market for everybody. Everybody's kind of taste. You know, odds are there's going to be a group of people out there that have the same kind of taste as you do. You know? So don't be afraid to express yourself.
I have an idea I'm working on for something I want to do where one of the characters has a hand kind of similar to what Elliot's drawing.
Cool.
Well,
it's like now I have to figure out a different way to draw it.
Because you've seen that and you just
I've seen Elliot's and I'm like, ooh, that's kind of close to what I was thinking. Well, I can't copy Elliot.
Right.
Well, no.
Well, you know how I've said that my story I've been working on it since '99, since the year my dad died, which was '98. But you get it, a year after that. Well, when I look at Brand, I see some similarities because it's that type of story, and I'm like, you know, I want to avoid just looking at it so I can just go with my original intent, and then it probably I know it'll deviate greatly because it's just not the story you think it is at first. But there's things about Brand, like, you know, having an African-American lead character and having him be a hunter, that's very similar to my story. And I'm like, well, you know, what do I do? You know?
Oh no, man. I again, there's too many things we're all drawn to like what Ben was talking about. It's in the ether. It's in everything we're doing. We're all eating the same cereal. We're all eating the same sandwiches.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Elliot's mid-40. You know, we're 40. You know, a lot of us are the same age.
Probably the same toys, watch the same show.
Played with, you know, yeah, same show all over the world. All over the world. You can talk about Thundercats in every country.
Yeah.
Really. I've traveled for 20 years. I've been to the Middle East. I've been to Asia. I've been to Europe. I've been all over America. And most people are just the same.
Yep. Now, I will say sometimes I'll hear someone say something and I'm thinking, knowing how some people are, they might say, oh, that's just like this. So maybe just for the sake of marketing, I might adjust. But, you know, again, if you feel that strongly about your idea, go for it. I mean, people were saying that Atomo looked a lot like Captain Marvel, Shazam, too much. And I thought, yeah, I could see that. I don't want to invite that trouble because it was influenced by.
But the way I felt about that, it was going to end up being your Astro City. Astro City wasn't. I never read it, so correct me if I'm wrong. But wasn't it supposed to homage those type of things? And that's what I felt off of my dad's favorite thing. He always talked to me about was Astro Boy. And when I seen Atomo, I seen enough of those influence. But this thing you would have got further if injecting yourself into it until it was all Atomo, Yeah, and it will when you pull it back out of the vault.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was actually hoping that you might turn it into a universe that some of us can add some characters to.
Well, it has all the potential for all those things, but I think the regardless though, I don't need to fight. I have so many ideas. That's just one of 15 of them that I think are viable. So if I was to pause on that for a specific reason, it'd be fine because I just buy myself more time to redevelop it or continue to develop it a little further. But those are just aesthetic things. Those don't necessarily. I'm not worried about that stuff. Like I don't care. A character doesn't have to look a certain way anymore, because I know I can come up with something fresh anyway. It's fine. Now, unless that look is specific to a key element of the story, like the mask or something like that, like that would have been difficult to say, oh, it's going to look like this instead. No, it had to be that for the Jim Carrey movie. But even that though could have been adjusted. Either way, to your point, I shouldn't let that stop me from producing something that I love and that I want to produce.
Exactly.
And the worst comes to worst, like I said, the market will determine it. When the market says, "Oh, it looks too much," then they'll vote with their dollars, and then that's exactly what we're wanting anyway. That's all we're saying is from the Comicsgate perspective is if you like it, buy it. If you don't like it, don't buy it because that'll tell me if it's going to work or not.
Exactly.
That's why I like the idea of crowdfunding so much because I can't afford. I'm not in the place financially to stop everything just to work on a comic. So because I won't have any way to feed my children. So I need to find a way to, if you guys are excited enough about the concept, then I know I can take that to the next stage of development. And if it doesn't fund, then I know it's not ready for that.
I'm doing the same thing. I think many of us are. That's a great approach to kind of consider Indiegogo like that. That if it works, it works. It's great. I'm also trying to make sure that I have I have newsprint options. So I'm going to have for my Indiegogo, I'm going to have an entry point option of $3 so that people can, enjoy the book, Yeah. And I'm going to try to make it, if I can, I don't know yet, but I'm going to try to make it in this Indiegogo round only if they just want a newsprint copy of it to make it, that like $3 with shipping. So they get it wholesale just to spread, awareness, right? See if people can get it in their hands, see if they like it. Maybe they'll buy a couple copies for their friends and hand out. So I'm definitely going to use that social marketing angle of Indiegogo next.
I'm really interested in what IndieCron is going to turn into for us.
Yeah, those are awesome guys. Tiny Pixel and Sierra Whiskey, and I hung out with those guys. Great guys. I think that could turn into a lot of things.
Yeah, it's still in its infancy, but it could turn. Yeah.
Oh yeah. The upcoming features could really turn into something great.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? What if the floppy becomes the old ash can?
That's funny.
That'd be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I actually preferred the idea. Like that's one of the things I love about Peter Simeti and Alterna Comics is the newsprint.
Me too.
And I understand why a lot of people don't buy it. I get it.
You see what's on my desk.
But have you ever seen any of Alterna's trades?
No, I have not.
I didn't even know that.
I have one. I have one for Scrimshaw Volume 2 because I backed it. And so I've got the entire trade for Volume 2 that they're doing now in the floppies, but it's slightly smaller than regular comic size, but it's printed on nice paperback. It looks good.
I went a different way. I went with. Have you seen the latest issue, DC Comics, Catwoman? Well, anyway, so I went with what they're calling high bright newsprint on a higher pulp with UV drying. So it's this special ink that they're using. It's very bright, very vibrant, and once it is hit with UV light, it really melds with this special pulp, this high bright type of pulp. Yeah. So, which honestly, what led me toward the 32-page format. That's the way the machine works. But it gave us a chance to add more upcoming art. Of course, any concept art we had, and then letters. That I put in a letter. I think we're all going to put in one soon. So that's what I decided to go with because it gave me the price point of $3 a book.
Yeah.
Look good. I could get in at $3. And do that for retail even. And then we're going to also add that, premium option. So if people really want the high gloss option, great. You'll have a high gloss option there. And then seeing that Graham Nolan book today, man, I really want to add 11x17 options.
Artist editions.
Yeah, man. Did you see that for Graham's book today?
No.
Monster Island.
I haven't seen it yet, but I like those 11x17s. Like I have a saddle stitched 11x17. Brian's printed in black and white of like one of Brian Stelfreeze's comics, Dayman.
Oh, nice,
dude! And it looks like Brian's, and it's got like his notes explaining why he did what he did.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude! Brian Stelfreeze is an amazing artist.
Yeah. I love those, man. I think it's definitely going to offer an option like that for sure. I'm going to offer a premium, like VIP package, and I'm going to offer a standard, diamond tier, and then I'm going to offer a, VIP, entry point tier where people can get, get copies.
I've got one of those artist editions for Walter Simonson Thor, hardbound 11x17.
Wow! Do you really?
Oh, dude, it's so good. Yeah, I bought it. I bought it.
I'm probably going for a lot now, man.
I bought it at House of Comics and Games when they were closing down.
Wow.
Here in Jax, they went out of business. That was my comic shop for a while, and I got it for like $30.
Wow! Congrats.
Hey, Elliot.
Yeah.
How long do you have to work on the project with Doug?
Well, hey guys, I'm gonna have to bounce, but good talking to you.
Right.
I'll meet you, Ben.
Coming by, brother. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. No problem. I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
Later.
How long do you have to work on that? How long have y'all kind of given yourself as an estimate?
I'm giving myself until I'm not planning on. Well, it all depends on how well it funds.
Yeah.
So you've heard me talk about this before. If it, I mentioned earlier than the other show I was on with Sweetcast that, we were talking afterward. We're talking about what's the word I'm looking for here? We were talking about the strategies of putting in a lower goal in your campaign versus putting what you think you really want because. So if you go with a lower goal, chances of you executing or achieving that goal are higher, and it allows you to put your project into what's called what's it called, Crid?
The recommended?
You recommend yeah, something else. It's but it's basically the same thing.
Trending.
Trending, right.
Yeah.
So once it goes into trending, then you can do a whole other. It'll hopefully will start getting more traction from the people that use the platform.
Right.
But what if, right? That's always the question. What if it doesn't? Because I don't think that if it's too high, or I also think that if it's too high, or what I really need to make to pay my bills, if you will, and to cover all those costs including shipping, whatever, it might not fund because maybe it won't get the confidence from the people that it can actually be that, right?
Oh,
So there's always that.
It's gonna fun close to the first day. Watch. I know you can't say that, but I can. As a fan, as an observer, I'm a fan of both you and Doug. I know other fans of you and Doug. This thing's gonna blow up.
I appreciate that. I hope so. I hope so.
So you're gonna look forward towards tiers as incentives once you get past the goal, right? Because I was wondering what have you thought about doing if it's okay with Doug, a 2 birds with 1 stone, and do as if it gets past 150 or something like that, and say I'll do a 4-page ash can of the introduction of Astro Boy or something. That way you got him started and you have a platform for your next.
That's an interesting idea. That's interesting. We're definitely entertaining those type of. I mean, like I said, I'm in the middle right now of creating the art that I'm going to use for the campaign. And I'm focusing on the language of the campaign next with the next day or so.
Right. So you don't want to divide your attention right now on that.
No. I mean, I'm thinking about all that. Believe me, I'm just saying I haven't gotten that far yet. What kind of tiers? We talked a little bit about it. I kind of like the model that Ethan used. It's what he used for Bigfoot Bill. But I also see the idea of adding things. So maybe that's not a bad idea. I just want to make sure it's not in conflict with the purpose of this campaign, right? Absolutely. I don't want to. But I was going to finish my thing. So in case it doesn't fund it well, again, I might be pessimistic. I'm just trying to be realistic. Like, what if worst case scenario? What happens? Let's say it doesn't fund very well. If it doesn't fund very well, and I can't afford to pay myself a decent enough salary to cover my expenses from the campaign, and this is all after I've planned for what it's going to cost for shipping and production of the books and worst case scenarios in that regard as well, then I need to plan for a later date to publish. So my initial plan is to have it ship in November, but I want to ship in July or June if possible.
Right.
So we'll see. I just got to give myself a cushion in case I can't meet that, because if I have to get a day job, then
that's what John Miller's been saying to everybody who does Indiegogos. He says, have a date you want to release it, but then add a couple of months on top of that. So that way you have that cushion in case something goes wrong. You get sick or something happens, you gotta take a break real quick.
Right. No one will complain that you beat your deadline.
Right.
Everyone will complain if you pass your deadline. Yeah. So it's just kind of strategy. Maybe I'm going too far, but I just don't know. Don't know.
I'm gonna put it out there, and I'm gonna get all my peeps to try to hype this. How about Elliot and Doug's team up going to the #1 selling CG book yet? The powerhouse that is Doug frickin' to Naple, and Elliot frickin' Fernandez. Oh, so great.
It's going to be a good book.
No pressure, Elliot.
You only have to beat 600,000,
Yeah, I only have to beat $500,000. Yeah, that's it. We're good. Man, that's a great problem to have.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'm excited about the idea. It's definitely we're definitely a good team for this idea. Well, yeah.
I think it'll do well.
It'll do well. I don't, how well it does. I'll leave that in God's hands. But I think that
very well. You'll be very proud. I think you're going to be very proud.
Sure. I mean, Doug's Bigfoot Bill was very successful to me.
I got my book. It's coming. I'm so happy. I was afraid that I wasn't going to make it in time.
I think it was huge, man. That was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, the truth is, when I saw how well he did, I thought to myself, man, that's a good sign that our project will do well. Because I think I do pretty good work, and I think
yes, you do amazing work.
Oh, thank you. I wasn't necessarily fishing, but I appreciate that.
I'm telling you the truth, man. Your stuff's fantastic.
Thanks, man.
But
I think. Go ahead.
We'll tell you when it's not.
Sure.
We'll do that favor.
Yeah. I would tell you.
Yeah.
I'm a jerk.
And
that's why I'm a jerk monger. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Game recognizes game, but yeah, man, I think it. I think it could do really well. Like I said, but this is good wisdom for anyone, though. Don't don't bite off more than you can chew. You know, it's for some of us. I had the benefit of learning from some of the other people who are fulfilling campaigns now, and I see there's been challenges for some of us that are not. You know, we weren't sure about this, not sure about that. So another thing I'm really excited about is learning. I also get to benefit from everyone's experience in shipping and printing and all that stuff. So hopefully we'll have some great intelligence, because I think it's important. And I really don't mean to sound this may sound like I'm being cheesy or something, but it's really important that all these projects do well. And if you're going to claim Comicsgate, it needs to be good. It needs to be a good looking book, man. It's got to be great. The best that you can produce.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the best ever. It just has to be the best that you can produce.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to see your heart on that page.
Ah, nice.
You know what
I
I'm
like
saying?
that you worded it that way.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Because I'll tell you, I was looking at some stuff. There's a couple of projects. I even have a couple of books in my collection that, you know, comparatively speaking, maybe it's not, you know, it definitely falls under the umbrella of what could be considered quote unquote indie. But that's what draws me to indie. Remember this comic called Owly? Remember that? I forget who put it out. I bought it a long time ago. It was some silly little comic about this little cartoon owl who never spoke. He only spoke in his word bubbles had little pictures in it, and he would hang out with these woodland characters. I mean, I'm going to check the chat. I don't have the chat up here. Have you done an Earthworm Jim fan art stream yet? No, I have not, Andrew. I have not. I probably should.
I put it up for you.
Say what?
I put it up for you.
What is this?
The Owly.
Oh yeah. Look at this guy here. I'm gonna present to everyone. He's cute, and it's all right. You know, it's not Marvel DC quality, right? But it's its own thing, and it has a lot of heart, lots of heart. And I feel like stuff like that is meant. You know, it might be. That's a great opportunity. I almost feel like I've said this before, and I don't know if anybody's taking me seriously about this, but I almost feel like there should be like a farm league eventually where we can work with younger or less experienced creators to help them get their product to a certain point, so that when we say, hey, we're putting out a new project, this is coming from almost like you have the pro edition of Drawn and Quartered and you have the fan edition, same concept. Yeah. I almost feel like there's an opportunity for that in the future where we can help kind of bring some people up to a certain level depending on the project they have. But that would require would require that we were all successful enough to spend the time to do that, you know. But that's possible for the foreseeable future to bring people to a level where this is going to be good. But always remember though, regardless of my opinion, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You know, there's also the fact that maybe some people are not good at marketing their product, so that could affect the way it sells. It doesn't have to be ugly for it to be, you know, doesn't mean it's ugly because it didn't do well. But as long as you're following the right principles, as long as you've got the right ideas that you're pushing through on your project, it should be good. And so the other thing is to make sure that you're on time as we go forward. We're experiencing some learning
learning curves.
Yeah, learning curve issues. It's understandable. Look, the majority of the group I would say 95% of the people that we're working with right now in Comicsgate have never been independent creators. We might be pros. Some of us may be pros, but that was working for a company that was taking care of all the other parts. You know, when you have a company that has a budget to publish stuff in Diamond and get that advertisement stuff out there, that's hard to compete with. So that's why recently when I did one of my rants. I was like, hey man, if you're an indie creator, you're not just the artist, you're not just the writer. You're the artist, you're the writer, you're the inker, you're the colorist, you're the letterer, you're the marketer, you're the salesperson, you're the sales team, you're the vice president of operations. You're all these different things that in other companies is handled by someone else. So lighten up on yourself. It's going to be okay. You know,
it's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. It is a lot.
It's a massive amount. I've self-published some anthologies years and years ago, paid for printing out of pocket, took them to cons, and I did all the lettering, the pre-press for the book. I wrote and drew several of the stories in it, as well as edited some other people and wrote some stuff that somebody else drew. It was massive amount of work.
Yeah,
it can be.
Hey,
so what would be helpful as we continue to progress is that we can all also share some of our resources, and that's just going to make, that's literally the way an industry is built.
And on that note, do you mind if I shill for somebody real quick?
Sure.
All right, if you'll highlight my screen real quick, or just if I talk, I think it'll come through. See this, Elliot? You probably know this is coming, right? Have you taken a look at the page yet?
Is it Tales from Beyond the Gate?
Yes.
Yep.
Look at some of these artists we got. It's so amazing. This, I watched them when they decided to make this the cover, and everybody was just in awe. They was like, and for me, I had it on mute, and I looked. I'm like, who's doing that? Because it just gave me this Crypt Keeper vibe. Like this is your mascot or something.
Yeah,
I just love that color, and it's kind of contrast to the rest of the book, and everything kind of. We have Bill Hart in there. I think y'all have competed. He's competed with you on the Pro Edition. Of course, John Dillard, who's the backer. I mean the campaign runner, who has several stories. He's a workhorse on this thing, and I love his art. Matter of fact, his art kind of reminds me of Avery's art a little bit, and like they would be a good mesh. This is his story that I'm so excited for, Forbearance. I watched him do it, and then in the green room he showed me all the pages. I can't wait to have a physical copy of this. It's so good.
Who's this?
This is John Dillard. Dillard gaming the system. Yes, this is phenomenal. He and I hit it off real because he's a fan of Mark Texiera, who I just love that guy, and he's a fan.
He was influenced by Corbin also. Richard Corbin.
It's so good. And this story, I'm telling you, I just like it. It's very heavy metal. It's very eerie magazine. It's very, very good. And of course, I don't know about this one, but like I said, he's got 3 stories in there. And there's a lot of artists to get through, so I'm going to try to make it quick. I love the silhouette behind this. So you all of a sudden get a dose of real pop and color, and you're like, ooh, what? And this is all in the same book, the same physical copy. This monster up here, this is Eric Weathers. And now I'm not familiar with, I am familiar, but I can't remember the book he's already done. So forgive me if I don't remember projects attached to this.
He's done a few projects for the lettering.
Yes, the letterer. That's right. I seen the blue pencils of this ship, and it's freaking amazing.
Where did I see that at? That looks really familiar.
Yeah, I think it was on one of the pros channels. They were showing it.
Okay.
But I like how, like, if you look back, this Warshack stuff that is supposed to be the land mass.
Yeah.
If you look close, it falls apart, and you're like, oh, that's cool. But it just does, like I said, it's I've lost my words there, but I love this picture so much.
Yeah.
Like, if I was a wealthier man, that page would be mine. We have Muttman, and I don't mean to speed past any of these artists because they're all our bud Todd Mulrooney, also known as Ignition.
Oh, I've heard of this gentleman. Yeah.
Yes, very cool colors. Manny Corella, another one of our buddies. He does the Skunk Girl. You've heard me mention in the chat. You're like, I don't know what that is. Well, it's not. He's been working on this, so he hasn't had a chance to work on Skunk Girl. Pixel Trader, which we don't get any art from him yet. It's coming, but so. And our buddy Kat R, female creator, and newbie, awesome personality. She's doing a free. This is free. You can go get this now. It's a free story to kind of wet your whistle for the rest of the stuff. So you can go download this. Just go visit, do what you want to do, and you see that there's sponsors in Ethan, John. This is the same picture I found the other day, Jerk. I was like, when I told him, I swear that's probably I'm gonna make a bet that's 20 years old. That picture of John Malin, because that's the same picture I see everywhere. And that's all. I just wanted to show you guys this because it's really getting me excited, and I figured you guys like art too. If you don't know about it yet, you should.
That's cool, man. Yeah, that's a great example of what I'm talking about. Like, there's some stuff in there that I can say, oh, this could be improved. This could be, but I see a lot of heart. And I see a lot of strength and their desire to put it out. That's important to me. That's for me. That's 85% of it. You know, like I'll read anything if that person, because like I said, I'm certain. I usually gravitate to artists that influence me. So I'm not always a fair observer, but I get a kick, man. I love looking at people's stuff when they're like passionate about it. Like, yeah, man. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, let's do it. You know? So definitely some good stuff in there. Yeah. There's some things we're gonna have to work on. I've even talked about doing like maybe this is like phase 2, phase 3 stuff, but workshops where we can talk about very basic things to help everybody improve on their stuff.
Yes, yeah.
Because I see some things in there that,
and also help the younger guys know what they're looking forward to. Because I watched Mike sit there and bag and board or do whatever, and he's got like what, couple thousand copies he's got to send out. You know, we don't get to see that process. We don't know what we're getting into.
Yeah, man. I'm excited for you guys, man. Are you involved in that project too?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I was late on it. I had an idea, and because I'm not a he heard the idea. He's like, "Can you draw it, ink it?" And I'm like, "I'm not gonna put that on you because I'll fail that task at this point in my abilities." But it's an exciting project, and I'm really excited to be friends with these guys. So I just feel like getting it out there, you know, that, and it also supports Comicsgate, which supports all of us.
Well, like I said, man, I think there's going to be a specific time when we're going to all have an opportunity to share. I like the idea of the farm league, so that there's a goal to reach for, but it doesn't need to be something that's going to keep anybody from creating. I think everyone should be creating what they have to create, put it out there, and get that voice expressed, right? Because that's what people are gonna want. You know, like I said, most people are not that discerning, so they're gonna look at it as, oh, that's a comic book. Okay, cool, and they'll read it and they'll get what they need out of it, and you never know, that's $1 million idea. So don't be afraid to put it out there just because a couple of knuckleheads that call themselves jerkmonger says, oh, I would have done this, I would have done that. I'm just offering the suggestions. If you want to polish it more, that's fine, you know. So that's important. And then the other thing is, don't do it if you don't want to do it. Don't do it. Don't do it because it'll look like it. It'll look like you didn't like that, you didn't want it, that you didn't care. Don't do it, because the last thing you put out is the thing that people are going to remember. So if there's not heart in it, then it better be so amazing that my face is going to melt while I look at it. Right? So then as long as my face is melting, we'll be okay. But if my face isn't melting and there's no heart in it, then it's just like, oh, people can tell. It's like when people sing and they're just singing with the vocal track in the background. They're not really trying.
Yeah, a lot of singers, when they get lazy, they don't want to sing the songs. So they lip sync to their own music.
Yeah. But when you hear the person singing and belting it out, you're like, ooh. Yeah. You know, like my wife,
even when they hit a raw note, it's because it's gritty. It's you like, yeah, he's doing that live, like Led Zeppelin or something.
Well, I'll tell you, like my wife, I mean, don't tell her that I'm talking about her. she doesn't watch any of my videos anyway. But if she did, if she lasted as long as 80 minutes, I think is what we have on here. We're about how long we been on here? Been on for a
3
couple
hours.
How many?
3 hours.
Is it 3 hours, dude?
Oh, my
Yeah.
poor kids.
No. Your kids are eating stuff out of the.
Yeah.
Has it been? Oh, gee whiz. My thing kept saying 80 minutes. Like, oh, we're good. I got. All right. I'll make it fast. If my wife sings, she's doesn't have a great voice, but man, I love to hear her sing because when she sings, it's definitely from her heart, from her soul, and that turns me on. Not
Yeah. Like the old school version of it.
Yeah, that's awesome to me. Like
it gets lit, as the kids say.
Yeah. And I appreciate it. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for either it's dope because it's dope, or you believe this so much and it's forcing me that I got to take another look. Maybe I'm missing something. I'm taking another look. But that said, man, you don't need everyone to love it. You just need your tribe to love it.
Yeah.
That's all you need. You don't need that. That was the big lesson. I'm telling you, if you guys get a chance to check out Stripped, the documentary about the comic strip industry and the comic and the newspaper industry, it is amazing. Check out Stripped.
I've heard of
Some
it.
really important information about the business of comics and the business of printing and the importance of digital. That's important. But that information is so powerful because it really put me into a position of thinking, you know what? That's what we need. We need heart. And once you get that out there, and that was the big lesson I learned from those guys. You don't need 1 million copies sold. I need a small army. It doesn't have to be very big, but they need to have the attitude of an army. That they're ferocious about what I'm creating and they love it. That's all I need.
Oh yeah, 5,000 to 10,000 and you're good.
Yeah. I've often said before, I wish I could convert these people on Instagram and stuff, but like I wish if I don't need people to give me $10 a month or $50 a month or whatever. If you just give me a cup of coffee at $1, if I get 1,000 people to give me a cup of coffee for $1, that's incredible. That's doable. That's why I believe in the model that also says, hey, you don't have to have doesn't have to be super expensive. We have to try to find ways to make those things less expensive. So that we can get this stuff into their hands easier. That's why I appreciate what Ben was trying to say. How that all rolls out, I don't know exactly, but that's the right way to think.
Yeah. Our price on Hero is pretty close to retail.
On the anthology? On
the Hero graphic novel that I'm coloring.
Oh, yours, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty close. It's going to be $25. We're hoping for it to reach hardback. So for $25, it's going to be like 170 something page hardback signed.
Yeah.
Just
my kid got mad at me that I didn't get him that, and I explained to him it doesn't work like a normal bookstore, that we gotta.
Before I go any further, Just Henry says, if 1,000 people give you a cup of coffee, you'll have a caffeine overdose. That's true.
No, I spend about $1,000 in coffee a month.
But I think just remember this, guys. Don't forget, you got to take into consideration your costs beyond just, even beyond your salary, right? So let's say you're not going to even get paid for the project. That's fine. It's not fine, but okay. Let's just suppose that. Let's presuppose that. You still got to pay for shipping. And shipping is not, and if you have international shipping, it's going to be a beast. Prepare your soul. My little black and red book went out to Australia and I paid more in shipping than I got for the book. So that's going to happen. And also make sure the other thing you want to be careful of is you may want to think about for your overseas shipping about some sort of insurance, because that's going to affect. There were several items that got lost in the mail. Just got lost, and I have no way of verifying that.
Yeah, because a lot of people overseas will claim something was lost and then get their money back.
Yeah.
Ouch.
We had a situation. I wonder who was I heard this from. I wonder if someone was telling me this or Andy was telling my business partner. Something happened I heard recently where they shipped the product, it got lost, and then they try to. Oh no, it was us. It was us. Wait, was it us? Anyway, it got lost, and we were like, "What? How are we going to get this out there?" So we were gonna. Oh, it was a commission. It was a commission that I shipped out, and my business partner Andy, he takes care of shipping for me. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I pay for shipping, but you know, he does the work for me. So he shipped it out. He put insurance on it. Thank God. It got lost. We couldn't find it, and after it leaves us, we couldn't track it.
Yeah.
So, thankfully, you know, he told us, "Hey, no offense, but I didn't get it," and blah 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 blah. So we were looking for it. So Andy did the best he could. He went up and down looking for it, and it wasn't going to be something that I was going to either. If I had to redo it, it would have been challenging in the schedule I have or whatever. So, or we had to just pay this guy back, which would also be bad for me. So we were almost ready to kind of wrap it all up. And on the day that we were about to, we submitted the insurance claim, he received the art.
Ah.
Yeah. So it's just those are those kinds of like crazy stories that you just can't anticipate. You just don't know how it's going to work out. You just got to be prepared for that. And you got to be prepared for, you know, make sure you have the right amount of books printed for your run. Make sure you have that and bear that in mind.
Are you telling me I quit eBay for this nonsense and now I'm going right into something that's even worse?
Yes. No. No, man. No, it's just you just gotta be thoughtful about it because there are more elements to it.
Yeah.
That's what we learned in Black and Red. And that was just in Black and Red. We didn't even have, like, can you imagine if you had to sign 10,000 books?
I wish. But yeah.
It's crazy.
That was a full-time job for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And then how's that going to affect your timing? Again, these are all those things, those hidden features, you know, goodies. But
and that's not exactly something you can have your wife help you with, you know, except for she's going to sit there. She can't sign the book for you. I mean, my wife, she does a pretty good signature for me, but I'm not going to have her sign my books.
Right. It better be yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
even though she deserves it more. She deserves it.
I'm just going to start signing E.
Yeah.
So you don't know. Critty's gonna come over to my house. Critty's gonna have a E party. He'll know what I'm talking about.
I just realized. Thank you, my dad. Thank you. He always signed his work ARB, so I put ARB 2, which because I'm Roman numeral 2. I'm not a Jew. Yeah. So that's been my signature. So I'm pretty good. I could do that.
There you go.
I guess that would be called what is that called? A mark or something like that.
Yeah. You know what? That whole conversation messed me up. Because now I'm like, wait a minute. I've been signing all my art with Elliot. I always sign Elliot. Oh, that's your tag? I'm like, oh man, forget it. I'm not even trying to mess with that.
Yeah.
Because I could sign my regular signature, but you know, I messed up the other day. So my signature is very simple. It's mostly squiggles, but it's a very specific pattern. Mm-hmm. And I was signing a check, you know, the back of a check the other day for a project, and I added my normal, I added Elliot to it. I did the E like I always do, and I have a very specific patterned squiggle because Fernandez sucks. It's a long word. Malpica's even worse.
Hey.
What? Huh?
He's talking about length.
Yeah. Anyway, and so I messed up and I was like, I never sign it this way. So thank God they took it anyway. I was like, oh no, they're not gonna take my check. Oh, I'm gonna go back to them, ask for a new check, and blah. Anyway, but no, as long as you have your ducks in a row, it's all good. You just gotta know that there are ducks to be put into a row, and as long as you're good with that, you'll be okay. Just be thoughtful about what you're doing. Ask a lot of questions, man. There's plenty of us to ask and get. And if I can't answer it for you, you know, I can get that information for you. Someone can get that information for you. But it's really, 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 really important, you know, that you put your best work out there and your best effort out there. And by best effort, I also include a mind of some sort of organizational mind to it, so that you're not overwhelmed, because that happens. I mean, I'm overwhelmed right now because I struggle. I have the whole ADD thing, and I got to do this.
Yeah, I admire your process. It's kind of changed the way that I look at things.
Yeah.
Like, if you like to draw, why don't you do it several times to get it right, the finished product? Why are you doing it the lazy way? You know, and I watched what you did with like the thumbnails and getting it right, the ADD thing you call it, but you know, just basically being analytical and making sure you get it right.
No, dude, that's important. That's a step I always try to ignore, because I feel like, oh, why do I want to draw that? That's too much work. But man, and I didn't do it with this either. This cover I'm working on, I should have just planned a little more, because what I did on the fly. See, what I did here, this monster, you should never do. What I did on the monster was I focus on the monster, not my composition and layout. That's just asking for trouble. Also, whenever I'm ready to black something out, trust me, I'm going to black out stuff that I spent a good 10 minutes on. That's 10 minutes I could have used somewhere else to get it complete. So I really recommend to anyone who's interested that planning is the most important step in your whole process. You don't want to plan yourself into paralysis, but you do need to plan. It's still important. Just got to know when to stop.
All right.
Let's see. Draken says, I don't like people saying, if you want to do it, you can just ask, because the people that seem to say it the most generally make it the hardest to contact and ask them anything. That's true. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you that if 1,000 people ask me the question, that's a long list of people to answer in my chat. But I'm saying there's enough people that you guys can kind of partner with, and that's why it's important that we partner from time to time with each other.
And Elliot always reads his chat, so you know, unless he gets into a big conversation, he always reads his chat.
You know, but we talk about this enough, though. So, you know, and I haven't gotten a lot of the answers yet for my stuff either. So, but that's something I plan on sharing throughout these videos, and just share the things that I'm learning from all this stuff as I go through it. I want you guys to kind of learn with me, so that as you guys progress, you can, you know what you got to do. Elliot doesn't always read his Twitter DMs.
He hates Twitter.
I do kind of hate Twitter.
I hate Twitter too. Hey, Elliot.
Yeah.
If you want another show, you could have a show called Florida Takeover. All the Florida guys.
All the Florida boys.
Just to add to your already full roster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know. Well, gents, I do have to boogie.
Yep, me too. Hey, Elliot, real quick, I was gonna tell you that on your channel, you know how you're doing these drawing contents? I think it's really cool. You know, you do like 5-10 minutes long. I think it'll help your channel grow. It'll help the algorithm.
Yeah, that's the goal. I'm trying to do that. I did one, man. I wish I could share. It's on my phone. I drew a chimpanzee drawing Batman.
Oh.
But I'm trying to figure out how to use it better, because I like doing the.
Is that your way of saying dance monkey dance?
Yeah. That's me. I'm the draw monkey.
Yeah.
I like doing the videos where I comment on the art, but what I'm also trying to do is, like, there's so much stuff going on these days, and I feel like, the one thing that I think Ethan challenged me the most with recently is my responsibility to respond to the things that are going on, and I want to still do it in a way that I think works for my style of handling things.
Right.
But I think it's fair to say that we could take it another level, and share. But then again, at the same time, I don't want it to be a drag all the time either. I like keeping things light and fun. So we'll see. So I'm definitely trying to figure out ways. This is something I could also recommend to people. Use your social media better. If you're just on there just to sound off, that's great. But definitely spend some time on figuring out how to use it. Like, I'm using Instagram a lot more for marketing, because you can't really make money on Instagram, but you can make money on YouTube. So, figure those things out. I'm experimenting with things. but anyway, so I'm trying to do a little bit of both, you know. So hopefully my chimpanzee video will be interesting because I drew a monkey. Well, it's a no, it's not a monkey, right? It's an ape.
Well, it depends which if you're drawing.
I'm just saying.
Always, if you're going to that Comic Con, I always wondered if having a tag along somebody that can record you so you don't have to, because that last video that you did at, I think it was New York, when you got to walk around early in the morning, that was so fascinating. You know, I don't know how many views you got on it, but I hope you got a lot.
That's a great, yeah, I don't remember.
But having somebody like, because you're drawing, you're working, you know, what about somebody like an apprentice or something, or somebody just, you know, that can record that all for content for your channel, maybe even take a break to walk through the halls, you know, and just cut a video or help you out, you know?
Well, Andy helps a lot, but you know, that's another, I mean, earlier I mentioned I'm also my own salesperson. You know, Andy and I were creating product and merchandise for things like that, for conventions and such. So we spent a lot of energy there selling, you know, and that particular video was just me walking around. I really hustle hard at cons because I don't want to take anything home. So that's another challenge I have. I kind of drop my head down, and Andy's really helpful about doing that part. So
Yeah,
it's not the shows for me are not nearly as fun as they used to be. They're not usually as flexible to do those type of things, because I'm going into these conventions now with a very specific focus on what to do and what to sell and how to sell it. I'm not that interested in necessarily doing the videos of things like I would have in the past, like, oh, let's do a live thing here.
Right.
But you're right.
Having a fly on the wall would be kind of a cool concept.
It would be cool. It would be cool, but who's going to do it though?
I'll do it.
He'll do it.
All right.
We'll figure that out. We can talk. Yeah, we'll forget. Yeah, that's something interesting to look at.
Yeah, if you want to come help me out with that, that'd be great too. But yeah, man. So, well, listen. I hope you guys in the chat had a good time. I didn't see any super chats. But I'm grateful to all of you who are here hanging out with us. I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything. And I appreciate Draken did an awesome job commenting on stuff, man, on the copyright issue. That was really cool. Maybe in the later people will look back at the video for this and glean some interesting ideas. I'll definitely want to review it myself, because there's a lot to be said about that stuff. We all have to be very nimble about that and careful how we use our time and energy so that we're not putting ourselves in a predicament where we can hurt ourselves. But at the same time, get your stuff out there. Please do it. If you have ideas, make them. If you have a story to Arthur. That wasn't a fish, man. I was just making sure I didn't miss anybody. Thank you. Arthur Brown, the Uncanny Kodiak, for $5 says this is a super chat. Thank you. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. But seriously,
hey, the other day I gave Mike $5 just to say a joke, and it had gotten to the point of a serious, and I didn't want to break the serious because it was serious. It was, you know, but so I waited and waited. I'm like, okay, I think this is a break in it. I can throw that joke in there. And so it's just, it is what it is. Just to make somebody giggle. I'll pay $5 to make somebody giggle.
You know what's hilarious is when you guys, sometimes you guys make the comments and we're in the middle of the chat, but we have that delay. It happens to me all the time. Whenever somebody does a specific chat, and I'm like, "Where? Huh? Tacos on Friday? What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
That's something I said like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. That's like with you and me. I was making comments the other day. He's like, "What are you talking about, Crid? What are you trying to say to me?" I'm like, "Oh man, forget it. The time already passed, man."
And then or maybe you went away and got yourself a sandwich and come back, and then you tried to say something like, "Oh no, that's not what I meant. Oh, you talking about sandwiches now? What are you talking about?" Oh,
yeah.
This is why I don't like chatting. This is why I don't like Twitter, because there's so much that gets misunderstood.
Yes.
Texting messages.
Actually, there's on Twitter, there's so much that is deliberately misunderstood.
That's true. That's true also.
That can be taken and
worked. A lot of people do it on purpose. They know what you meant.
Yeah.
They want
All right, guys. I had a great time. Thank you, Jerk. my kid's giving me the sad face. I'm gonna go ahead and drop that. They've been so well. They've done so good. So I'm gonna.
Well, I'm gonna wrap it up now. Thank you. I want to thank everybody here. If you have anything that you want to share, Arthur, anything you want to talk about real quick?
You can pretty much find me just about anywhere. J Potts, if you want to catch that real quick, Jerk.
Yep. Super chat from J Potts, $10. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Tales from Beyond the Gate. The horror never ends. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, of course he took care of that for me. So Uncanny Kodiak, you can find me on Twitter and here on YouTube's. I am going to start trying to put more content on my YouTube's, probably little skits with my kids just to get content out there.
Yeah, right.
Be sure to check me and Avery out, and Avery will probably handle this a little bit on Misfit Corner with our buddy Andrew, where we act like total 12-year-olds and cut each other down. It's a great Hero is about to be launched. That's a book that's I'm gonna let Avery handle the rest of that, and that's pretty much that's my end game.
All right, brother. Thanks so much, man.
Yes, sir.
Is it Avery?
Yeah.
Go. You're next.
Oh, I'm Avery Butterworth. You can find me here on Misfit Corner and on my channel, Comics and Illustration Studio 7.62. And we got Hero launching beginning of March. Hero Book 1. It's a all-age friendly, 170-plus page graphic novel. I'm the colorist. It's written and drawn by my good friend, Andrew Charper. And come by, check it out. Should be.
Right on. Check it out. Critias?
I got Detective Dead on Indiegogo, and that's about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hey, boys, do me a favor when you guys are done. Send me your whatever your links are so I can put it into the description.
Okay.
Cool. Absolutely. Were you on Twitter or
Twitter's fine. Twitter's fine.
Okay, cool.
I'll look for it this time.
Cool.
And my new project with Elliot, he doesn't know about it yet. It's called Nevlia. Nevlia? Yeah, Nevlia. Just don't tell him.
Don't tell me about it yet. We'll get to that. We'll get to that next. And I am your host, the Jerkmonger, Elliot Fernandez. You may find my work here on this channel, also on Twitter under Jerkmonger. And if you feel more intrepid, you can find me on Instagram under Elliot Fernandez _art, and have your face blown off, melted, and turn into liquid when you see how awesome. No, I'm just kidding. You guys just enjoy it. I hope you guys have a blessed day. Sunday tomorrow. God bless you all. Peace out. Don't hurt yourselves. Don't drive.
Did you get that super chat?
Yeah, I got the super chats.
Both of them? All right.
Yes. I'll read them again. This is a super chat from Arthur Brown, the Uncanny Kodiak, $5. $10 from J-Pod Studios, Tales from Beyond the Gate. The horror never ends. Peace out, y'all. Peace out. Peace out.